Thank you for reminding me, and we had 5 people we missed. Oh,
Thank you to
okay.
Ma'am
Well,
Giselle po.
welcome. This.
Thank you po to Ma'am Giselle.
Thank you so much. This is our um Zoom meeting on May 4th, 2024, with my great friend Lisa, who's my partner in ITSA, or International Teacher Support in America. We're expecting Dr. Poole, who is the superintendent of Brinkley, to pop up anytime. I told her the window is between 7 in the morning here to 11. Pop up anytime. I didn't expect her to wake up early for this. She's very busy. And so Mike is watching that when Dr. Poole comes on, that we will stop whatever we're doing, and we're gonna have her to come on. Okay. And Lisa, I'm so proud that my best friend Lisa here has joined us, because she really adds a lot to the conversation. And we are talking to Donna, who is very fluent, 3 stars in my book. Miss Lisa gave her an 8.5, which I agree. And so let me finish my comments with you. You're positive, it's very obvious. And the way that you say something about not being to not be very strict, which means not being a Hitler,
Yes.
and because authoritative style of leadership, which is what Hitler was. They're the authority, and that's never going to work, especially with students in high school or elementary, but especially in high school, because they don't want a very bossy teacher. They call them bossy here, and they don't seem to care about the students. They just want to care about themselves, that I'm the boss here, all that. You don't do that in America, because in America we raise our children, and Lisa, Lisa has children, I have children. We raise our children as thinkers, critical thinkers. And we, especially mine, I raise mine that you can question me. Just be nice about it. Don't be rude. You can correct me, but don't be rude about it. But we raise our kids that way. We want them to question. We want them to criticize everything, if it's something that needs to be done that way. To critically think, is that right? Is that wrong? In anything that they hear from teachers, from TV, from things they read. That's how I raise my kids. And I think most parents in America, do that. Lisa, what do you think? Do you think that our kids are like that, more independent?
I think so. And you know, I feel like in the last probably 20 years in America, kids are probably even more independent, because parents, I mean, so many parents work, and a lot of parents work 2 jobs, and there's a lot of single parent households. And so kids have had to become more independent, and even at a younger age, able to do things on their own, take care of themselves. When I was growing up, we called them latchkey kids, because they come home from school and let themselves in, take care of themselves, maybe for 2 or 3 hours before parents got home. And also with COVID, I feel like so many kids had to become independent during that time, especially high school students, because kids were working, doing their lessons online, and parents had to go to work. And so kids had to become disciplined and monitor themselves in order to, stay on task and stay up, up to date with what was going on in the classrooms. And so I think that the level of independence, and maybe the way in which kids have become independent, has really kind of increased over the past few years.
I tend to agree with that. Yeah, COVID was not helping on that situation. But see, as teachers in the Philippines, Lisa, they are so used to kids that would just follow what they say. Yes, ma'am. Kind of yes, ma'am kids. You are
Yes.
not going to expect yes, ma'am kids here, especially in the places where they're hiring international teachers. They're going to try to defy and question you, which means that you have to build that relationship with them, a very good relationship with them, and they know that you care about them, because they don't care to learn until they learn that you care. Okay,
And
so
at the
that's
high
those.
school level, I always encourage kids questioning me, as long as they
Yeah,
did it respectfully.
yeah.
I encourage that type of conversation. You
Hmm.
want to build that kind of relationship with them so that they feel they can question you, because all that does is strengthen and deepen understanding, and it also helps strengthen and deepen your relationship with them.
Relationship. Yeah. But the thing is, in our culture, it's like almost like being considered like rude because you're questioning an adult. Now our culture is similar to the Latino culture, where you are being scolded. You put your head down. You don't look at me like, are you defying me? My dad would say that. No, in America, whenever you're talking to someone, whether mad or not, you have to look at them in the eyes. because if you're not, it's being rude. Okay, so remember that. Remember to adjust to that. That in America they will question you. The kids are questioning you. In fact, as in the perspective of an assessor, like I used to assess teachers in Praxis 3, which gives them the license, and I did that in all over the state. I always rated those teachers high if the students were able to question, to question the teacher, because they would raise their hand and ask a question, because that tells me that that teacher is not intimidating the kids, that teacher is open to that, and it's obvious that this is a classroom for discourse, for discussion, that kids are expected to talk, and that is according to Common Core. Kids should be talking. They should have a discourse with each other, not just the teacher. It has to be a discourse among students and between students, because that is important for communication. As I'm sure Hannah would agree. Oh, who's
Ma'am
that?
Ellen,
Donna?
can I add
Donna would
one
agree.
thing?
Yeah, there's Maria. Hi, Maria. Why don't you come on to Lisa? You know Maria. Maria,
Yeah.
go ahead and introduce yourself real quick, and then Lisa. She's my baby. She's my first one here. She's my
Yeah,
Hi,
so
pioneer, I
Maria.
call her.
hi
Yeah,
Miss
go.
Lisa. Hi guys,
Yeah.
good morning. I want to add on that one because I've just been listening. Of
Uh-huh.
course, like to have a growth mindset, Miss McCullough will always remind you about that one. To always have that growth mindset, to like, just because one person gives a comment about you doesn't mean like it's something bad for you, but also like just have to accept it. And as what she's been doing here, like you have to reflect on it, and then like just do better next time. And
Mm-hmm.
so like cause like even her or Miss Lisa, they also have their own room for improvement as well. So everybody has to have a growth mindset. So
Mm-hmm.
when you come here, you really have to learn how to have that, like, and not to have like a, how do I say this, like kind of like a very narcissistic about yourself. So really try to avoid that one. A lot of things will humble you here. And also don't be afraid or don't be scared, or I would say like don't think of students trying to correct you as a rude thing. But you also have to remind them, there are times that I remind my ninth grade because they're my higher kids. You have to remind them that like um I can make mistakes and just correct me if I make mistakes, and so they would try to correct me in that one. But also there are still some kids who you really need to teach like how to say things not in a rude way. So I think that way you can be able to build rapport with the students, so that also greatly helps. So because I think we are not used with the fact, as what you said, we're not used with the fact like students correcting us in things or saying something to us, but in here you really gotta learn how to like have an open mind about what they're gonna say to you. At first
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be a little bit like hard to like adjust, like no, I don't want to listen to this, or like things like that. But like some students will just really tell you things, and it might hurt you at first, but eventually you're just gonna get used to it. You're just gonna say thank you for correcting me, or yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for pointing out my mistakes, just things like
Mhm.
that.
And
So
thanks
yeah.
for being, yeah, thanks for being nice about it. But sometimes you may have to remind them, hey guys, you have to remember that English is my second language, and I just got here. And what if you go to Philippines and I'm expecting you to speak our language? What do you think about that? Oh my God. So then I started
Yes.
speaking our language, like, okay, maato mo sa Pilipinas, unya, kamo niya, pasulti unya tamo, unya, unsa may sulti ninyo. You know, I would say that, they were like, oh my gosh.
And they'll just be shocked, and I think that's also a good cultural exchange thing to show to the
Mhm,
students, because I also have students who would I think we have some syllables or accent where it's just hard to get rid of.
mhm.
And they're like, Miss I, why would you say that?" or something like that. And I mean, like, I already have like good relationship with my kids, so like we were just kind of like have fun of it, or like you just don't take things seriously, but they would really try to correct you. And like you would also try to give them knowledge, like, yeah, I mean, like, this is how just we speak in the Philippines, or like this is the accent that I'm used with. So you just have to tell them about that one, they're gonna learn from you.
Mhm.
And as what Miss McCullough said earlier, like if you just try to speak the language, like like we tried that doing with my students, like speaking in Cebuano, and they're just
In
like,
front of them.
huh, yeah, what you talking about? Yeah, something like that. So as a J1 teacher, that's a like a good thing you know to impart to your students.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's a fun thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Go
go on.
ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
it's also a good thing, because like that's really building a relationship with them, that you can also make mistakes, and
Mhm.
that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, because what did it say? Vulnerability breeds trust. So if you're being vulnerable to them, that builds trust. Okay, anytime that you're being vulnerable, that also helps. And Mike even said in chat, Maria, do you agree that not that students not greeting you, like in the Philippines, they have to greet the teacher, they're greeting you in the morning. That kind of shocks some teachers. Like, oh my gosh, they didn't greet you. And when there's a company in the room, like I come in Maria's classroom like every week, right? And sometimes Lisa would do it for me, or lately. I don't expect them to get up and say, "Good morning, Dr. McCullough." No, you go on there as if I'm a fly on the wall. That I want
Yeah.
you to have the smooth thing. I do not want you to distract your flow just because I came in. And in the Philippines, what happens in the Philippines?
In the Philippines, I mean, we are used to it, like always having some greetings every morning. Like but in here, you just have to, that's one of the cultural things that made me shocked at first, because like, what, the students just don't greet you, or like they would just pass by you, and they're just not gonna say
Not say
something to
anything.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not as much
And
in elementary though. In elementary, most kids will greet you. If you're standing at the door for them to come in, like one of the strategies that we would have on the door, we would have the like, do you want a high five? Do you want a hug? Do you just want to do a thumbs up? Do you want to speak hello? So we
Mm-hmm.
would have those options posted
Mm-hmm.
on the wall outside the room. And so students could let you know how they wanted to greet you. And then at the elementary level, they would greet you in that way in the morning. Not so
Mm-hmm.
much at the secondary level. A lot
No,
of times
no.
kids at the secondary level have their hoodie pulled down over their head and they just walk in and, look at the floor the whole time.
Yeah, you have to tell them to take those hoodie off.
Right. That's,
And now with
yes,
COVID, you do fist bump now, so that
yes,
you don't have to, yeah. But
yeah, but
yeah,
there
but
are still like students who would hug you. That's something that you have to expect as well, because they will really hug you, like,
yes.
give me a hug, or like,
yeah,
yeah. And you just gotta get used to it. Like, for ladies, I guess, like, when you're a female teacher and a
the
guy is hugging you, or a male student is hugging you, you could just probably give them a side
si-
hug.
side
Yeah.
Right.
hug. That's what I
Yeah.
do. I would side
Mhm.
hug, but some of them would actually like embrace you. And this one kid the other day, I was at the classroom, but this was a fourth grader. So he hugged me and closed his finger like this. I'm like, I can't get out. And I said, "Excuse me, sweetheart, I need to go." And all this because I guess they must need that
Just need a
that
hug.
day.
Yeah.
And I did not take it bad. I just thought, oh my God, I need to get out. Because I was feeling uncomfortable when it's so long and it's closed like this.
Yeah, there might be some students who just receive their hugs, and that they
In the
just get
classroom.
a hug
Yeah.
from you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
That's
that's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a social emotional need, but also at the same time you also need to watch for those kids that will take advantage because you're short and they just want to feel something. You have to be careful about that, because I don't think I've met anybody like that, but it could exist in America. I
I
don't know
want
if
to
Lisa
brag
would
on the
agree.
teachers at Brinkley too, that every time that I'm at Brinkley, the teachers are at the door greeting the students between
Mhm.
classes,
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good practice.
and yes, it's a great practice and they do
Mhm.
that every single time. And so that's something that students come to expect. And
Mhm.
so, one of the things that we've learned as educators is that students will rise to our expectation.
Yes.
And so when
Yes.
we set that precedent ourselves by being at the door and greeting them warmly, then the response tends to grow over time, usually.
Mhm.
And they do respond in some way.
Yeah, yeah, and it does make a difference for sure. And that is one of the practices as administrators that we always remind teachers: be by the door. Because a lot of times, if you are not by the door, like in some schools that I've gone to, the teachers are in the lounge having their coffee, they're delaying themselves while the kids are lining up outside. Things could happen at that time, especially in junior high and high school.
Yeah.
Somebody could fight, somebody could, say something and get punched, things like that, but you're not there to supervise. So it's going to be back to you if you have not been supervising your kids. So you don't be late. You need to be by that door and wait for those kids and greet them. I would always, like, I'm a very visual learner. So I'd always say, "Hey, nice style, nice hat, nice." No, we don't want them to wear a cap. Like I would say, "Nice shirt." "Oh, is that a new shirt?" love the color. You know, I would say that like I would be very authentic about it. Like if I don't feel it, I wouldn't say anything. But earrings, the kids, the girls' earrings. Oh, I love the earrings. I could get away with that long, big hoops, but you can't. You know, I would comment on that. Don't. What would be a big no-no to say, Lisa?
Um,
How pretty they are, maybe, right?
yeah, or
Yeah.
one of the kid, like the slang that the kids use, like try not to use the same slang language, like, you look fire today, or you look fine today, or
Or
you know,
dope. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I
just
actually use that sometimes, and they would just laugh at me because, like, Miss Sarah, why would you say that? You know?
Lisa, I bet when Maria, you in your 20s, you can get away with it still. But
you're one of them, Maria.
Maria was only 23 when I brought her here, right? Is that right? 23?
Oh, 22.
22. She's my youngest one, and I mean, her story is really amazing because she contacted me, and within a week I got her an interview because she had the
Yeah.
best timing. You know, Dr. Poole asked
She's
me for
an
an English teacher.
outstanding teacher too.
She
I
is,
spent a
and I
lot
could
of
say
time
that.
in Maria's classroom, and she has a great rapport with students, and Maria teaches bell to bell. I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's a
she
good
goes
thing.
nonstop. There's no downtime. There's no, there's nothing lackadaisical about what she does, or she doesn't let her students off the hook, no matter the grade level. Like they're on task, and she's working them the whole time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kudos to you, Maria.
Yay. I
Thank
agree.
you.
Yeah, I agree.
I think most Filipino teachers are like that. Like in general, I'm gonna generalize people because, like, as what you've said before, like what the term driven, like, I forgot.
Yeah.
You mentioned this term, Miss Ellen, where like Filipino teachers like to give work to their students, and so like
Slave
the
driver.
American students.
I'm an Asian slave driver. Slave
Yes,
driver.
that's one. Yeah, that phrase, that one, absolutely. And because like the kids at first they would just complain, "Why you give us a lot of work?" Something like that. Can't we have a free day? No, no, you're gonna learn in my classroom. No, no free day. No. But I mean, I give them free day sometimes. I give them breaks sometimes. But like, no, you're gonna learn from my in my classroom because
But
and
when you
they
give them a
complain.
break, Maria, it's still related to content. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
they may watch a video, or something like that, which is kind of a break, but it's still related to content. They don't
Yeah.
get off the hook. It's not an actual free day.
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
playing Blue Kit, for example, especially a Blue Kit, for example, that you have made that's relating to what you're doing, or a Jeopardy Labs, jeopardylabs.com, you create a Jeopardy game, but it relates to you what you're doing. And you are very good at that, Maria. I'm telling you, we cannot praise her enough. She's already being built now as in part of a leadership team now by Dr. Poole. And I think she's that kind of Dr. Poole kind of put her under her wing too. You know, so,
No,
so
I
yeah.
still have a lot of room for improvement. I'm still in my year 3 here, so
Year three is
yeah.
good. Year three is good. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for coming on. You really added a lot to the discussion because those are things that you learned when you got here and things that shocked you. What other things shocked you other than the greeting and all that?
Well, I think the greeting part, I'm gonna be clear about that because like in the Philippines setup, like students are just gonna stay in one room, I believe, if
Mm-hmm.
my memory is correct. And the teacher's gonna go in the classroom, get inside the classroom, and then everybody just stands up and greets the teacher at one time in chorus. But in
Mm-hmm.
here, yeah, you just have to wait outside the classroom. You have to wait for them. You're the one should be greeting them. And I think that's a really good thing to do because you're gonna know whose students gonna be paying attention in your class, who's gonna be energetic in your class, because you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have some students, Miss, like my head's hurting, my
Mm-hmm.
tummy is hurting, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to pay attention to that one, because like
Mm-hmm.
I think you might also some consider kids. I don't know if correct me if I'm wrong, because like there are gonna be some students who's gonna be sleepy in your class.
Mm-hmm.
So I do phone calls about that one, like like I really want your support this time because like your kid is sleeping in my class. Maybe there's something going on in your home, in your house, things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
also with parent contact, it's not gonna be always like you're not gonna
Negative.
always get, yeah, it's not always about negative things. You also tell the praises about the kid, you inform the parents, and then like if there are like opportunities for the kid, and then the parents might not be aware of that, so let them know about it. Because
Brag
like,
about them. Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
brag, make sure you brag about their kid, and they're gonna like that. But also, say for example, there are negative things that you're gonna, tell the parent about their kid. Some won't be very accepting about that one. They like, because they see their kids as in a different way, and you also see their kid in a different way. So like,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like, yeah, at the end of the day, that's all you can do. Like, you already done your part,
Yeah, but do
and
you
you
do
can
a sandwich? You do a
sandwich.
glow sandwich? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Explain that, Maria.
Okay, I think we're all familiar with the sandwich method. Like, oh, your kid is really participative in my class, and then she actually gives a lot of input in the discussion. However, this time I might be needing your support, Miss Blank, because your kid was being rowdy in my class today. Um, you might want to talk to them about you might want to talk to him about that one, and I mean, like, overall, he's really a good kid. It's just that this time he just really
Mm-hmm.
he needs, help. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be really needing your support this time.
Yeah,
So I'm looking forward for
great
your support,
one.
things like that.
Good
Yeah,
example, because you wrap up the however part in the middle, but then she finished it with positive again. So as a parent, I'd feel good about it. Yeah, my kid did well. But then yeah, I will talk to that kid today. So yeah. Maria,
yeah.
I'm telling you, Maria, you have grown, 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 girl. See, she
Thank
had, I
you.
mean, I still have a video of her. If you look on YouTube, all the videos are on YouTube. You need to see her first time that she had talked to me. I remembered you wearing a black and white thing, and you have your little headphone thing going, and I thought she looks so professional. You acted so professionally and so on, and anyway, so yeah, so she did well on her interview and got hired.
Yeah, I'm
So
still
that's
the
3 years
youngest.
ago. Yeah, she already had sent in for her extension of her stay. You have 3 years for your J1, and then you can do up to 5 years. So Maria had sent her extension, right? And you
Yeah, I
got
already
it.
have my extension.
Yeah, so she can do 5 years. That's how the J1 visa works. And if her school would sponsor her to become a green card holder, she has to do a waiver first to waive that 2 year requirement to go back to the Philippines. And if that is waived, then her school, I think, is willing to sponsor her for
Once.
H1B, which is your green card thing, and you can stay permanently here. And after 5 years of a green card holder, then you can take your citizenship test, and then you become a citizen, and you're here like us.
Woo!
Okay.
Woo!
Yahoo! I know, I got mine in 91. So I came here 87. I got mine 92. I got, because you have to be 5 years here before you can get it. So yeah, if you're married to military, you only have to do 3 years, to
Hmm.
wait for your citizenship. Yeah. Anyway, Maria, thank you for adding that wonderful content to the conversation. And
Thank you.
Miss Lisa, yeah, Miss Lisa can attest that she and I have observed these teachers. There are 4 in Brinkley, soon to be 5. I'm not saying who the 5th one is, but you'll find out later. And anyway, somebody's moving from one school to the other. So um, that's all I think. Is there anybody else that's a teacher here in America already that are attending that I would like for you are my special guest speakers. You are Miss Lisa and I's guest speakers, special guest speakers, because you can speak from the point of view of being in America already. And then you remember what you did in the Philippines. So it's a good learning for everyone that's still in the Philippines. By the way, there's 79 people here right now. So that's pretty good. Last week we reached more than 100. So anyway, anybody else, Mike, that you noticed that either Leslie usually comes, or any of the
I think,
Helena
yeah,
teachers?
Ma'am Leslie has an examination today po.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm thinking of them. They're doing what they doing praxis test.
I guess po.
Yeah, and then I know of
Praxis.
2 that's taking their TOEFL. That's a teachers of English as a foreign language. TOEFL is a test that you can take. Well, in the Philippines, it's about $200, 10,000 pesos. But that is a requirement in Arkansas. So if you're not planning to be in Arkansas, then you don't have to take the TOEFL. But if you're in Arkansas, you will have to take TOEFL, and some of them take it more than once. So the school only pays for one, but if you if you fail it, you have to be on your own. But it is a requirement. If you do not do that the first after 1 year, you might not get renewed. So it's a very important test. In fact, the West Memphis School District hired about 13 people. I already told them, get your TOEFL done, so that when you come here, that's not a headache that they have to endure, about renewal or not. So, okay. So going on to Brenda Poole, yay. Hi, Brenda. This is our special guest speaker, featured speaker. As I told you, you're anticipating Dr. Poole. I could actually call her one of my dearest friends. She actually helped me a lot in being a coach, being a consultant in that part of the state in the Delta, because she had been my greatest advertiser. She's been telling other administrators about me. So thank you, Brenda. And she is National Board Certified Teacher like me. And she got her doctorate degree too. And she's an amazing leader. We usually have lunch when I come to her district. And so it is my pleasure and my honor to introduce Dr. Poole. I don't know if she's ready for me, but she popped up. So I said, I said that. Brenda, are you ready for us? Lisa, you have met Dr. Poole, have you?
I have, yes.
You have, yeah. So I wonder if Mike, do you still see Dr. Poole? Did she have internet issues?
I didn't see her yet po.
I didn't see her yet
She
as well.
popped up, Dr. Poole. It popped up.
Maybe
So
she sent you a message po.
did she? Let me see.
Maybe po.
No, she did not. So anyway, but there is a Mike actually posted our YouTube link, guys, for ITSA. It's by Dr. Merlina McCullough. So you might want to look at our videos, like, subscribe, whatever you want. And then on Facebook group, he's also doing that, and also the chat group. So there are 3 links in the chat that you may want to copy and paste on your on a document, so you'll have it. Those are really great places to visit for resources, especially the
I also posted
YouTube.
a couple of links to
Okay.
articles about the science of reading, as well as a list of books and podcasts on the science of reading.
Yep. And I like that Joanne said something about the parents are our partners, and having them be informed of their child's positive and negative behavior makes a big difference. I agree. And it does make our discipline problem easier, because it's easier when you have already formed that relationship. I call that emotional deposit, because when you do an emotional withdrawal, it's going to be easier. They're not going to be like, what? You already built that relationship. That's what I do. I would call every parent that I had when I taught in Little Rock for a short bit. I called all 150 of my parents. I was teaching science, and I wanted to introduce myself. And it's so funny because I didn't do it like 2 or 3 days later, and they already have heard about me. Oh, you are the Dr. McCullough my child is talking about. And it sounds positive. So that was a good thing. It made me happy that, so the children were saying nice things about me, because how warm the parents took it. So that's a telling for you too. Like, you are this, if they're gonna act like that, what did your child say about me? I used to joke, like, if you agree, if you believe about 50% of what your kids tell you, then I'll do the same in the classroom. They're also gonna tell things, but that's a joke with people that I know well. But anyway,
Dr.
is-
Merlina, is
yes.
it okay if I'm going to be sharing about what I have written? I am making, because I am working in a private school here in Philippines, I was given the opportunity to do whatever it is that I would like to do in my class. So what I did is I have Americanized my style of teaching here. So every time that there is this child who's not giving a good impression or making a problem with behavior, automatically I use my phone, send email, send a message, and the parents return the message back. So after that, I
Ma'am,
make sure also that the
ma'am,
child is also
okay.
being talked to outside. That's it.
Yeah,
Those are
hang
the
on.
points.
We have to
Uh,
cut you. I'm sorry. Hi, that is not Americanizing it, really. Sometimes you do not do straight like that. You have to talk to that child first, because
Yeah,
you have
of
to
course,
give
of
them a
course.
chance to you have to give them a chance to explain themselves. It might be something that they don't feel well. You cannot automatically just text the parents. You have to.
Yeah.
You also have to hear that child. Okay. I want
Yeah.
you to.
Thank you
to
for that.
remember
Thank
to
you.
do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's
I
not
did that
Americanized.
before. But yes,
Yeah.
I
Yes
think
po.
there is Mr. and
Mhm.
Mrs.
Doc,
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Poole is here now po.
Okay. Hi, Brenda.
Okay po.
I gave you a very good introduction earlier. I don't know if you heard it, but I said Dr.
Wait,
Poole is
just po.
yeah.
Okay.
National Board Certified
check.
teacher,
check.
one of the best superintendent, if not the best superintendents in the state of Arkansas. And I could call
Yes.
her one of my dearest friends, very knowledgeable, very caring, very passionate about education. And she happens to be Maria's boss. And she has
Good morning.
four teachers there. Yeah, she's got 4 teachers there. I'm a Filipino teachers there and loving it. And we cannot tell on who the 5th person yet is, not officially anyway. So, but here's Dr. Poole. And everybody's been anticipating your visit. Dr. Poole, Lisa Bailey is with us
Good
also.
morning, Dr. Poole.
Morning, Dr. Poole.
Good morning, everyone. How are
Good
you?
morning.
I see you, Maria. Okay. Merlina, what do you want me to talk about?
Well, remember I told you, I said, Brenda, when you talk to them, you might want to talk from the perspective of the administrator here in America, what you're looking for, because these are mostly candidates who are wanting to come. Last week, we have more than 100 now, we have 81, but this is recorded. It's going to be on YouTube, and they would like to know from your point of view, what are you looking for? If you're interviewing someone, what are the things that they could do in order for you to possibly give them an edge to possibly be hired? Things that are the yes things to do and the no things to do, not to do.
Okay. One of the most important things for me when looking for a candidate for our district, because I understand the students that we serve are candidates that are willing, who have also taught diverse population of students. It doesn't necessarily have to be the same nationality, the same race, but have you taught students that may have special needs, students that are advanced and gifted, students who are struggling learners, students from high poverty backgrounds, students from affluent backgrounds, because we serve a plethora of those students in our schools. So that is important, that you're able to meet and reach all students.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I would also say having a growth mindset, and not just saying that you're willing to do anything, but really, truly be that type of teacher that you're willing to learn, willing to develop yourself. Because I tell people all the time, most of the development I did it on my own. Some of it the school will be able to give you, but a lot of it they won't, because truly, who knows your weakness more than you do? We can look on the outside looking in and say, well, we think you need help with classroom management, but you know that there may be some self-confidence issues or things like that you may be dealing with that has nothing really to do with your ability to handle your classroom. So that means that you need to develop yourself in self-confidence, become more sure of yourself. And also, even if you don't know content knowledge really well, you can strengthen content knowledge. It's that lack of will that we're finding that's hard to instill in the teachers.
Yep. If you're open, you can learn. But if you're not open because you're too full of yourself and you're so not narcissistic that you think you're so good already, then we can get through you, right? Is that what you're meaning, right?
That's exactly what I'm meaning.
Yeah, and it shows in the interview when it's all about you. And we've been telling the participants that it should be all about kids, not about us. It's all about kids. And Brenda, being National Board Certified teacher, she's also a support group leader there in their area. So if there's anything National Board related corporate position stuff you could give them when they do their answers, I think that would help. Do you think?
Yeah, like I say, knowledge of students, and how do you use that knowledge of students to plan lessons is key, because just planning a lesson without knowledge of students and not having a systematic plan of how you're going to deliver that lesson, that's kind of a red flag for an administrator, because we want to know that you know your content, and we want to know that you teach students and not content. And I don't know if that's clear to try to say that a different way. Even though you must know your content, you're teaching that content to students. So therefore, whatever you're teaching, it is for them.
Yeah, you customize your lesson because of what you know about your kids, right? Yeah, you customize. You have your kids' needs in your mind as you are doing your planning, right?
And throughout that entire cycle of learning, you can have a goal for a lesson, but if you don't know your students, who is that goal really for? Is it just an
Mhm.
objective? Is just a goal on the board? Who is it for? And those things are for you and the student to be able to discern where we're going. And when we get to where we're going, then have I achieved the goal? Have I met the objective for today? And so that's very important for teachers to be able to communicate that process in interviews. And also, sometimes if you have a particular bias about a group of students or people or things like that, because I do see sometimes that on Facebook, teachers post things on there. I'm ready to get away from the kids. If summer break is here,
no.
you have to be careful saying those things
Yes,
about the students, because guess what? The parents are on Facebook too.
And Brenda's on Facebook, and it says she sees all that.
And I'll just kind of quietly say, you might not want to say that. I've had to say that to some teachers before. I mean, because it doesn't show you in a good light to the public or to the parents. Because it's like you're complaining about your job. And at the end of the day, without students, we won't have a job. And I think
that's right. That's right.
in the
That's a good
background
thing.
mind.
In my, hi, Brenda, feel free to comment on those comments
Okay. Yeah.
because you know I would if I see it.
Right. I do. I quietly inbox some of the teachers and tell them that's not appropriate. I don't think, especially if you serving students in the district, because the parents may see that, or somebody else may see it and show that to them. And I've had parents that come to me, well, did you know your teacher posted blah, blah, blah on there? And I'm like, well, they didn't mean to. They didn't mean to. Sometimes we share stuff because it sounds good. And at the time, we don't really give a thought to the meaning behind it and the impact that it may have on parents and the students we serve.
Right, exactly. That is a good point to remind them, because like, for example, when I ask them, okay, tell us why you want to come to teach in the US, please do not say bad things about the Philippines or about your boss.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
because
And
that's
we
not telling.
understand. We understand we've all worked in challenging situations, but really and truly, those challenging situations really make you who you are as a teacher. It shows your resilience. Every time I've worked in difficult situations, at the end of it, I always figured out, I said, well, okay, this was a growth process that I needed. And so it wasn't comfortable at the time, but sometimes you just have to sit in it. And in the end, you learn a lesson. So it's always a lesson to be learned from anything that we go through. So no, that's not a good look to talk about our bosses, our former colleagues. That's everywhere. And so you have to, I believe in the concept, and we did this at the school one year as a back to school thing, bloom where you are planted.
I love that.
You have a responsibility. All educators have a responsibility to water the grass where you are, to make the place better where you are, to make yourself better in that place, and to lead the organization better than you found it. We all have that responsibility to do that.
And that reminds me of one of my administrators saying, you as teachers of that school, of that district, should be the biggest cheerleader of that school. You should not be airing laundry. If you have a problem with Dr. Poole, you tell her, you express that to her, because in America, we can do that.
Yeah,
we can do that, right?
Open. And a lot of times your administrators will be open to that. We understand that you're under quite a bit of pressure sitting in those seats, because we have sat in those seats before you. So we understand the day-to-day work that you have to do and the struggle with the students, because they are different than they were years ago. So we do understand. And sometimes that the things that we're asking you to do is out of our control, may become a new legislation, piece of law that must be implemented. But at the same time, we have to do our job and do whatever we have to do based on law and policy. And a lot of times that's what administrators are enforcing. I'm not going to tell you there's not administrators that are difficult to deal with it sometimes, but if you have a positive attitude and keep that positive attitude throughout, you're normally going to win that person over, because even a grump can't be grumpy long.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you have to, your positive goes a long, long way. This is the difference between the administrators in America and the administrators in the Philippines, because it's almost like you are near God status. Like they cannot talk to them. They're so afraid of them. There's some principal that would come there as like a, oh, I'm the diva kind of thing. You queen, you serve me type thing. Your authoritative leadership style is very common, not servant leadership like you and I practice. It is a lot of authoritative leadership. That is a default, seems like, in the administration there. So they're not used to like, really? I can talk to the superintendent directly, really? I mean, that is a shock to Filipino teachers. And I've heard that before. Oh my gosh, my superintendent talked to me. And it's almost like, oh my God, you know, some Hollywood person talked to me. It's almost like that because they're not open. They're not that connection is not quite there. It's almost like superintendent talks to the principal and the principal talks to the teachers. But then a lot of the principals have, you know, got so much you know, narcissistic attitude towards there's a very few that's not. Now, of course, there's a few, I would never say all, because I don't know all the administrators there, but the ones that I've encountered had been that way. And that's the huge difference here in America because we want them to talk, right, Brenda?
We
I
do,
want the
and we
teachers to talk.
do. And we will be present. Maria knows because she invites me to come be judges in her room for her poetry. And so they know they want us to be present. And I want to be present. And the students want to see you as well. The administrators come in. So it's really nice to be able to talk to your teachers on a personal level, get to know them. Because at the end of the day, I'm serving them. I tell people, in a servant leadership role, you don't just serve students and parents, you serve the teachers as well. And I feel like if they need something, I'm going to help them get it because that's my responsibility. And that's the way that I support them.
Yeah. And I want to brag on you, Brenda, because I know when Maria first got here, you bought her a bed and other things for her apartment and from your own money. It's not from the school. It's from our money. And these things are not cheap, you guys. So she did that. And I know nobody ever brags on her, but I want to brag on Dr. Poole that, you know, I actually use you. Do you know that? I actually use you as an example. When administrators would ask, Merlina, what do the teachers from the Philippines would need from us? And so I would say, oh, I hope you don't mind that I said, oh, do you know Dr. Poole does?
Yeah,
I don't
Everybody
want you
needs
to
a Dr.
match it.
I
Poole,
want
right?
them to I want them to be able to see me first. I normally go pick them up from the airport because I want that experience with them to welcome them to not only to the country but also to the district as well. So I've made an effort that to come pick them up when they arrive. So
Yeah, did you have a sign?
That is
thought you had
true.
did you have a sign, Maria? You had a sign,
Yeah, I
right?
still have it.
we
Yeah.
have a sign. We had a sign.
Yeah, every teacher, every Filipino teacher got that sign from her.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
so
have mine.
cool. You're one of the coolest superintendents that actually would do that because not very many does that. Don't expect your superintendents to do that, especially if you're in a big school because they don't have the time. They
Yeah.
would always delegate it to somebody like a principal or assistant principal. Sometimes not even the administrator is somebody that would have the time in the
Right.
Yeah.
district, right? Yeah.
But I
just
tell
know,
people, I tell
Huh?
people I'm beginning to look at my colleagues because I'm like, do they really not have the time? Because I feel like I don't have the time because I'm wearing multiple hats and
Yeah,
you
she
make
does.
time for what's important. So I
Yeah.
figured that out. You make time for what's important.
That's it. That's a good thing to say, right? Because she's about to build a new school. That's a big job. But
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you because your teachers will experience, the Filipino teachers they would experience the first year in a new building,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yes,
How
yes.
old is the building that you are tearing down?
Oh my goodness. That building I think was built in 1920. It's
Oh my
very
God.
old. Yes.
Yeah, 80 plus 24, that's 104.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, okay. That's an old building. But
And
they're going to miss that building too because it's
they
kind of have
are.
that memories. Yeah.
It is. It's beautiful. We're actually
Yeah.
planning to do a ceremony around it and give them time to come back and reflect and all of that. And so not just tear it down because we are, it's been a big part of the community for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And they would remember their when they were in high school there and so on. And when their kids were in high school there, their grandkids. So they're going to have some sentimental things going on there. I'm so glad that you're sensitive about that. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
But anyway, so what other things, what did you have an interview that you thought this is so bad? I wish this teacher did not do this, or some, some some warnings that you could share with them not to do, what not to do.
Well, I did have a teacher that came in the interview that pretty much every question, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And I said that, yeah, you must know something. You know, it was like we kept asking questions, trying to get that person to tell us something, but there was nothing we could do.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely nothing.
It wasn't a Filipino teacher, was it? It
No,
wasn't.
no Filipino teacher. I think that was probably the worst interview I had ever
Oh my gosh.
sat on that committee. And so, I mean, you know, you're trying to give them benefit of the doubt and say maybe they're nervous.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm like, it was just void. And then so we, and
But
I
it's
don't
okay to say I don't know on some complicated question. But
right.
you might, yeah, you might want to follow by. But I have a mentor, Dr. McCullough, Miss Lisa, you know, or Dr. Poole. I could ask her questions,
That's
and I
right.
know I don't know it yet, but I will find out. You know, there's technology there that could help me. So you could, you don't. It doesn't really have an I don't know. It's really
Right.
something that you have an idea, maybe.
That's right, because you can draw from your previous experience. Every job, whether you're a salesperson or not, if you're a salesperson, you can use those skills to come in this interview and sell yourself on something. You can tell me in
Yes.
sales, this is what I did. So even though I haven't been a teacher, I would do this here in the school with the students, with the parents. So you can apply things from other jobs to actually teaching. And we actually tried to turn the question around and use some of that person's work experience in order to help him to be able to answer that questions. But that was probably one of the worst ones. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Filipino teachers. If you have attended my Zoom and you act like that, I would be so embarrassed.
No, they're very professional when we interview them. So no.
Well, good. I only send you the best, you know.
Right.
So I've been doing orientation. I don't know if you have attended earlier where you saw us interacting with candidates. Did you? I don't know if you came in
I
earlier.
remember you telling me about that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they do more of orientation / introduction of themselves. It's
Mhm.
more of a practice for interview because you always ask them like, tell us about yourself. Isn't that one of the first questions you ask after
Yes.
introducing yourselves?
Tell us about yourself. We want to know
Yes.
you.
Yeah. So I want them to have a 2 to 3 minutes, like sell yourself to us. You
Mhm.
know, an elevator speech about yourself. You know, and it's so funny because they would include those personal things. So I told them only professional. They don't really want to know how many times you've been married or anything like that. But how do you feel about personal information? Because some people would actually ask about that, but most do not. Do you
Yeah,
ask about personal?
I do not ask about personal information because I'm looking for a person who shows up for the job, ready to do the job. That's professional. And
Professional. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I said don't include those. That's just gonna run more time. And a lot of times administrators are so busy. They have a certain amount of time that the slot for you. You know, they may have 5, 6 different people to talk to. So you cannot be monopolizing the time, right? Right? Yeah.
Look, right? She wants me to agree with her.
So what was your impression about and Maria was the first one that I sent you and you hired her. What told you and Maria? What was the one that really thought, oh, this is the person for me. This is the teacher I want to hire. What was it that I'm putting Maria in a spot too? But you know, what was it that she said or she did that impressed you?
Maria had worked with diverse population of students. She understood poverty, and through her interview, she was very knowledgeable about her content. And she could tell us examples of what she actually did. And of course, the students and the situations may have been different. But we saw that, okay, this is a person that we could work with. We can grow her, give her the proper support, and she's going to be a great teacher. And she is a great
She
teacher.
is. I'm telling you, we just finished bragging. Lisa and I just been bragging about Maria. She's one. If they would say, Merlina, I want to watch a Filipino teacher teach, I would take them to your school
Yeah.
and have them to watch Maria's classroom and Christine's classroom too.
Yeah.
You know, of course, you know, especially literacy, if they ask me, because they are very effective. Kids love them,
Yeah.
and they are very. They teach bell to bell, which is a
And-
big thing.
Right. And she just bloomed after that first year. She got over the students. And I know it was kind of rude to her at first, the things that they say. And I said, well, you know, in America, they're a little free with the information. So, and she was like, in the Philippines, they would never ask us things like that. And I said, well, welcome to America. You know, and I'm like, they shouldn't be, but they are kind of a little bit more open here. The students are.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
personal relationships with teachers in that way. Sometimes that can go a little further than it should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was mentioning a while ago when I was giving some like tips. Like don't like at first it's gonna shock you that students can say things like that to you, but eventually you're just gonna get used to it because that's based on experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
but I
that's
think the
right.
kids, the kids love her, Brenda. Do you know that some kids would actually want to stay in her classroom instead of going to other teachers' classroom? She had to like drive them away. Go, go, go to your whatever period class.
Students want to know that you care. And once
Yeah.
they know that you really genuinely care, I mean, you can get them to do almost anything that you
Yeah.
ask them to do.
I think so. Those kids, those students that do not behave in other teachers' class that did not bond with them, they would do better in your classroom if you have that relationship with them. And
Yes.
I've seen that in action.
Yeah.
Yep. We've seen that in action. So anyway, any other message that you could tell them, because this is the goal is for them to do better on interviews and for them to know the difference between how we teach in America and the Philippines, and what are the expectations of what kind of learners we have in America.
Right. The expectation is that we all teach based on the standards that have always been the expectation of mine, even when students are struggling learners. I think that we have to be able to scaffold, support the learning of. And it's also not only that I expect the students to meet the standards, but I expect the teachers as well. I have higher expectations for my teachers, and we do kind of push them to grow and develop. We're not where we want to be, but we have made some progress in meeting our goals. And that's what's most important, that we see the progress that we're making and we take those small wins. And that's where we can get, the collective buy-in from the staff and everyone else to follow the plan. We have to celebrate the small wins so we can keep going and try to overcome the challenge. Because it is a challenge, teaching students in poverty when all the times school is not the most important thing. Most of them are up. Most of them are living on their own. Some of them are older siblings are taking care of the younger siblings. And so that sense of community is not always with them. So the expectation is that they get that sense of family and community in the schools because it's not always present in the home. But am I talking about them in a way that judges the parents? No. Because at the end of the day, that's their reality. And I believe that we cannot serve students that we judge. We cannot serve students authentically if we feel some type of way about them, their home life situation, and their parents. So I tell teachers, don't become one of those people that go in the teacher's lounge or gather up in groups and always talk about the students and their parents, because you can't really serve people you don't like. And kids won't learn from people they don't like. And that's unfortunate. I try to tell the students, you may not like the teacher, but you need this information that the teacher is trying to give you. But it doesn't work that way. They shut down.
I think that's something that's a strength for Filipino teachers. We actually do not do that at all. We just really, for some reason, at least I do. I can speak for myself and my sister, that we really do love kids. I mean, whatever rainbow colors, whatever situations are, we just love kids. That's why we're in the business. Otherwise we'd have to go do something else.
That's right.
Right. And I think that should be the good a good thing to remember, that this is why you're in education. It's because you're passionate about it and you love kids, you're dedicated to the profession. And I think that would show in the interview. Do you think? I mean, that nonverbal.
Yes, you can tell the people that are excited about the students. You can tell that in the interview, because when they tell the stories, it shows. And there's moments when they will share something that's maybe funny, or share something that was sentimental about them and their previous students. So you can always tell those people who are really in the work because they love to do the work.
Yep, that's right. You're not just coming to America just because America pays 8 to 10 times more than the Philippines, but you're still spending in dollars. But it's not about the money. And I said that to them. When administrators ask you, do you have a question for us at the end? Don't ask them how much money they are paying me. Those things are public information in the website, because I told them to always look at the website, research the community, that when you get interviewed, you should have some knowledge about, who you're talking to and where they are. don't you think, Brenda, that matters a lot?
I
Looking,
agree.
yeah.
And Maria, I think the question that she asked us at the end of her interview was about support and mentorship. Am I right, Maria?
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah.
asked about being supported in mentorship, and that was a very good question because we do, provide support, and that also lets us know that this is not a person who's saying that I'm coming in and being perfect, but I'm willing to try.
Right.
I'm willing
And
to
that's
learn. I'm
that's a good
willing to
question.
grow. And so that was a very good question that she asked, because that is a key piece to being an educator and staying in the field is support.
Yeah, and that is why I think Dr. Poole's teachers are you don't ever hear from them that they want to move. You don't hear that because they feel supported, they feel loved, and they feel cared for. Other schools always say, Dr. McCullough, is it okay if I'm looking for a job because I don't feel supported by my principal, I don't feel support from the administrators, and so on. And so I'm like, the teachers seem to not like me. They don't like me, and so on. So when you have that feeling, according to the research by Ruby Payne in poverty, that people in poverty, which most in the Philippines, we are in poverty, and so they have to like who they work for or they work with. And
right.
if you feel that lack of support, that's when your numbers of Filipino teachers would fall apart, because they just feel like, oh my gosh, we're not supported. So I feel humble that Brenda trusts me to be the mentor to her teachers. I come every week, which has really been so nice, because I could I hear things. Brenda and I usually have lunch, right? And we debrief and we talk about education, not just about the teachers, but education in general. So it's been really very confirming and intellectually stimulated conversation, right? Because it's all about kids, it's all about teachers and kids and how to improve in education. So we actually do level 3 about how to improve the world. No, yeah. But anyhow, so yeah, has that been helping? I don't know if you ever think that I'm helping, Brenda. I don't know.
You are very helpful. And I think that anytime that we have teachers coming in from other countries, I think you need someone there to bridge that gap, because they're getting to know us. But with you being from the Philippines and then also being, a citizen in this country for years now, you're able to, I think, help them overcome the cultural divide.
Yeah. And I think I hear that from the teachers, and I think the ones that decided, oh, we'd rather hire Solution Tree or somebody expensive like that to do, and let's just cut the other folks like me. And I think they are feeling that difference.
Yeah.
They said, oh, and I still support them, I still call them, I still go to their home, but it's just so different when you're not being observed in the classroom and have that specific feedback that's related to the standards. Because they will know what test standards they're weak on. When I observe them, you are weak on this, you need to work on this. This is what you did, this is what you should do, things like that, because I'm blunt, I'll tell them.
Right. And then one thing that I like that you do and that you're able to do is that you co-teach with them in a way that if you see something, you can switch to your native language and you help them correct it, and it's smooth and no one ever knows the difference.
Yeah,
That is true.
yeah, I would tell Maria, day, madung ka na gud, day, kay ngano man ina. I would tell her that, I would tell her to stop doing something or tell somebody something, and she does it really smoothly as if nothing was said to her. And yeah, that's how we coach. We speak to our language, and the kids did not know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've seen this in camera. Is that what you did?
I pop in and out of rooms. I do that.
Yeah. And that's been an advantage, by the way, because I don't ever want this to show the kids that I'm doing this. I want it to be smooth. I want it to be like they don't know. Your teacher is the boss in that room. She's the curriculum leader in that classroom, and I'm just here, a guide on the side. But I don't have to tell to have them understand what I said. So that's the advantage of it. And we go to their homes. I think going to the homes, I remembered Maria's first night, Brenda. Remember you took her to her apartment. Apartment is across the road from the school, which is walking distance. She cried because that was her first time of being away from
I remember that.
I know. And I said, oh, and when you told me she was crying, I said, oh, I felt so bad. I need to go back and pick her up.
And you live like what, an hour away, 50 minutes
Right,
away?
but I did. I felt really bad. I'm like, and I just never dawned on me because I, I'm like, oh my goodness, we've just dropped her off in this country, in this new place, in this new town, and we just left her.
Yeah. And I even thought about like, should I drive there? Should I keep her company the first night? But I have family. See, I'm 3 hours away from you. So I'm like, I thought about it, but I thought, well, she needs to be independent anyway. She needs to be used to that because that will be her new reality in America.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And now she just like, she's
Go
very
all over the
independent
place.
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
She's ready to dig her
that
way
her mom got hired by West Memphis, Brenda. You knew that,
You
right?
told me that. You
Yeah.
told me that.
Yeah. And so her mama would be at least what, 1 hour away?
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever
So it's not bad.
awesome.
you
That's
know.
not bad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I do not know what you did on LCA, Brenda, that you got approved in 2 weeks. I've been waiting since February for them. Something is wrong. So I'm
Oh.
going to see them Monday in
Okay.
West Memphis to find out what's going on.
Okay.
Because that's been what, 3 months.
Oh yeah.
I
And we
called
need-
them. I have emailed them. I cannot talk to a person. So if you know of any number for DOL, the Department of Labor, please let me know because
Okay.
I've been looking for a number where I can talk to a person.
Okay.
I'm tempted to visit wherever their main office is
Okay.
and just talk to them.
I
Yeah.
will let you know who Mr.
Yeah, let me know from your financial person who does your DOL things. Who would that be in your district?
That would be Mrs. Thomas.
Okay, Miss Thomas might know somebody that I just need a number where I can actually talk to a person.
Okay.
There's just nothing. I've been Googling it and I could not find anybody. Everything I can find is the help desk.
Okay.
And they always pass you to another help desk. And I just could not find a person to talk to.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So any last minute thing, anything else that you want to have the collaboration? And did we talk about collaboration and involve in the community? What is your expectation of the Filipino teachers when they come? What after school stuff?
Yes, we like I said that we don't try to dictate as much after school time because we do have collaborative time built in throughout the day. We ask that time is used wisely and that we hope that the teachers can leave work and actually go and feel refreshed. Most of the time, Maria, Ms. Kazon, and them are still after school doing some type of activities. And so that is important, especially in smaller districts, that you be willing to sign up for a club sponsor or something like that, or willing to work a ball game, concession stand. I do it myself. So it's not like I'm asking teachers to do stuff that I don't do because I work in the concession stand as well. All the ball games.
All the time. Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
time. So
That's awesome. See, that shows the servant leadership. Can you imagine a superintendent in the Philippines doing that, Maria? No,
but yes,
that's a never.
I do. And I try to make almost all of the activities. We have a district-wide calendar where I know what's going on throughout the district so I can make an effort to be there. So I'm always trying to be supporting of the teachers who are over those clubs and who sponsors and just to let them know that I see them and I support them.
Yeah, and that is very, by the way, not all superintendents do that. So don't be like Brenda is saying the ideal superintendent that she is, but don't, some of you might end up in schools that's not like Brenda, with superintendents that not like Brenda, but it can be better. You're showing the best right here. So, but other schools, I've worked in so many schools and I just do not see anybody better than Brenda. I'm not saying that because she's my friend, but I'm just really saying that, in fact, I have recommended her to be like the superintendent of the year.
Yes, you did.
Because I'm really impressed with how she supports her, not just the students, but the teachers as well. And sometimes teachers would feel like, oh, the superintendent or the principal would support more the parents. Like they may make the teachers look bad in front of the parents. You never do that. You have
No.
a way to support both and not putting anybody down,
That's
and
right.
that is a good thing. Yeah. So yeah, what's the difference between working in a big school? You have worked at a bigger school, Brenda, right? What's the big difference between working at a small school versus a big school? Because some of them will end up in like other states with big
Right.
schools.
The thing about working at a bigger school, I mean, the principal and I, when I worked in that school, I was her assistant principal. We still made a conscious effort to be visible. And showing up in classrooms, the expectation was for me to be present in those classrooms. 70% of my time was in the classroom. I did lunch duty every day at that school. I worked at that school for 5 years, not because it was on my list to do lunch duty, but that was an opportunity for me to check the pulse of the school, talking to students, listening to things that they were saying. I got an idea of what was going on in the classrooms, who may need some more support, because the teachers, for instance, our students once said, "Woo, I can't wait to go to blah, blah, blah classroom because we never do anything in that classroom." So as an administrator hearing that, I don't let the students know that I'm listening in that way, but then I start saying, this is somebody that I need to check on. This is somebody that may need some additional support here, because there should be something going on in this classroom every day. So
when kids love it because you have free time and they can just use your phone that's not a good thing.
Yes, but the students tell those type of things. They talk about that type of stuff at lunchtime. So I could check the pulse of the classrooms by not only going in the classroom, but listening to the students during lunch. So I did lunch duty every day.
That's a good idea.
With those,
and most schools in the area where Brenda is, in the Delta area, most schools have cameras in the classroom and everywhere. So you could actually also check the cameras, right?
yes.
To see.
And I tell them here, I use the cameras as a necessary base. I may have something on my schedule today where I want to really go to the classroom and I pop in on the cameras, but I really like to visit the classrooms myself and be just present there to, like I say, sometimes you just need that. And I tell people, that's my happy place. This is the part of the job that I like least, is having to sit at this desk and do paperwork. And most of the time, sometimes you tied to the desk a lot.
Yeah. So you have to kind of make yourself, be self-deployed, you have to make that, because otherwise you will be so burnt out, right? Because this is why you're doing it, because of the kids, and you're not getting to see the kids. One school that I went to, a child said, "Who are you?" It was this administrator, and that tells me that, oh, this administrator has not been self-deploying, because why would this child not know this superintendent or this principal? That's kind of, to me, as an insult as an administrator, if somebody would say that to me.
It is. Because if your students don't know who you are, and most of mine do, because they hey, Dr. Poole, hey, how are you? And so that makes me feel good that means I'm visible and I'm present. They see me. So, they don't show up to their activities as well. And like I say, even in a larger school, I tried to do that as well. I tried to be visible, build those relationships with those students. And even when we had to do home visits, in some of those neighborhoods that were not the best neighborhoods, I can always count on the students to say, don't worry about it. You go in, but make sure you get out before dark, and we'll make sure everything's okay while you over here. So the kids you develop those type of relationships with them, even when you have to go into homes and areas that's not pleasant to go. The students will begin to protect you and make sure that you get out safely.
They will. They love you, and they love the Filipino teachers. I hear a lot of really complimentary things said to me, and they're so funny because they think I'm Maria's mother. Are you Maria's mom? I'm Miss I's mom, Miss Incorporado's mom, and I'm like, well, not really, but I claim her. But anyway, so Maria, what do you tell the students, who am I, when I come to your classroom?
No, I tell them that you're my coach. Like, I never told them that you're my mom. I guess that's just how
I know that.
Yeah. From the very beginning that, they saw you, like, are you Maria? Are you Miss Incorporado's mom? Are you Miss I's mom? No, she's my coach. Like, she's my mentor. She helps me. That's what I tell them.
Yeah, but I'm very I guess sometimes hesitant and being careful about calling myself a coach, unless the teacher would say that, like Maria does, because some teachers would become very sensitive about that word. Like, am I not good? That's why I have a coach. And I always tell everyone that, you may be good, but you can be great. Or, Tiger Woods, as good as he is in golf, he still has coaches.
That's
You
right.
know, so everybody can use a coach. I can use a coach.
That's
You know,
right.
I learn a lot from Brenda when we have conversations because
And
she's so
I
deep, you know.
learned from you.
Yeah, we learn from each other. So we love having lunch together. And we usually go either Mexican or Chinese. And I'm like, Brenda, you're driving. You get to decide. Because if she really wants my decision, I would say rice. Wherever there's rice. Yeah. But anyway, how about attendance? You know, in our culture, just like the Latino culture, they are always late. If you invite somebody at 3 o'clock, they'll be there at 4 or 5 o'clock. And we can do that in education. So tell us about attendance
No, attendance
expectation.
is very important. Even as a classroom teacher, when I taught, I hated missing school because I felt like I've always had to play catch up when I come back, even if it was for one day or a training or something like that. So I tell people, yeah, sometimes you may just need a day to calm down and relax, but you should never be in a school situation where you're using all of your days, like I'm seeing with a lot, you know, with some people using all of their, you know, leave time, and then you don't have any at the end of the school year, or you're not banking any for the next school year. I mean, coming to school is important because think about how much instructional time that you're
Mhm.
with that students. The students are not learning, and
Mhm.
if they're not present, they can't learn. If you're not present, they can't
Mhm.
learn. So it's very important for students and teachers to come to work. Like I say, sometimes you're sick, you can't help it. That's not what I'm talking
Right.
about.
Right.
Sometimes we have to send you on a training. That's not on you. But sometimes just missing and missing and missing. And we're seeing that more and more with the younger
Teachers.
teachers versus we are with the older teacher or more seasoned teachers in education. It's just the idea, well, I don't feel like it today. I have a headache today, or, you know, I just woke up this morning, I just wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
And
Or
so,
I went on a trip this weekend, so I'm tired on Monday. You
yes.
know? Yeah.
And so we're seeing that more and more with the younger people. And
Mhm.
like I tell people, just think about it. If your principal was never at school and never there to support you, how would you feel?
Mhm.
I mean, the absence of the principal each and every day. I mean, the school would maybe probably be chaotic.
Yeah.
So you want this, you know, everybody to be present because you're part of
Mhm.
the system, you know, and that's part of the system is you're the academic piece in the school. And if that part of the system is broken, then guess what? Other parts of the system won't work as well.
That's right.
They
The
know
sub could never do what you do, right? The sub could never do what the teacher does.
they cannot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's important to be here, especially in America, with the importance of the testing at the end, the summative testing that the state gives. This is how they grade the school. Brenda, do you mind expressing about Atlas because they don't have any idea about that?
Well, the Atlas is the new assessment system in Arkansas. We don't know much about it ourselves, other than we tried to learn something, but we were having kinks all year long where we couldn't get a good feel for the system. And we were told repeatedly, make sure your teachers are teaching the standards and the kids will do okay. But we know when we have struggling learners or anybody, that if we can have a frame to say, well, this is how I know the test will be set up. We kind of tried to look at the blueprint that was given to determine, okay, these are essential things. Do we have this on our essential list of things to teach? But as far as being able to go in and practice in that system prior to testing, that was a hiccup across the entire state of Arkansas. And
Yeah,
even
I think so.
during the Atlas testing, there were some hiccups that I'm told that some type of glitch was in the system in some schools where it was reading the reading part of the test. That's
Oh, no.
right, but that's a violation. So how would you score that? But it was hiccups along the way. I don't think we had enough time to really pilot it and put it out there and practice with it. But our teachers stayed the course and focused on teaching to the standards at the appropriate rigor
Mhm.
of those standards and assessing based on those standards. So hopefully we did well. I'm telling you, I'm hearing some good things about our writing, and that the students were writing more this
Good.
time around.
Good, because that's important. I think that goes a long, long way, right? Because that's usually a weakness to schools. is writing. I do more writing workshops in across the state more than I do reading. I know Lisa does a lot of reading, but I do. To me, it's becoming my expertise now because I do a lot of them, and so I get to learn what types of writings going on in the school and what types
I've
of
been
writing
doing a
should
lot
be
of
going.
writing as well.
Yeah.
Just because of the way that Atlas is set up now, where the student response has to be a fully developed response and has to pull evidence from the text in that response. So students have to be able to write well to thoroughly answer the question.
Yep, using textual evidence. So that's a new PD design I'm doing right now. I'm in the middle of. I'm actually using ChatGPT and Brisk Teaching, BriskTeaching.com in order to get passages and Common Lit and all these other places in order for me to develop a training where I actually would have the teacher be doing it like students. And so I found one that would actually grade it and would give them comments. So that's what we're gonna do in my next workshop with another school, because that's something that they should know how it feels to do, because that's what the students need to be doing. You know, and I could teach them how to use those AI and how to, create their own, passages. You can tell it, create an essay with 6 different sentences in it, and you tell exactly what you want, and it's there. No, I can even tell it, I want create a CCSS RI point one, whatever. I can tell it, reading for information or reading for literature, and what standard, and it will create one for me with 8 multiple choice questions and 2 open response or short responses, and then add sample responses. And so
But
they
then
will
we have
see
to
what the
make sure
sample.
students aren't responding with an AI answer.
Yeah.
That's
That's
right.
yeah. Actually, the teachers are hating AI because some students are turning essays based on AI. And as a teacher that that an educator that use that, I recognize it. I would recognize, especially the students are not smart enough. Some
Yeah.
students are not smart enough to put it in a lower level because it sounds like a college kid, and
Yep.
you know the voice and the tone of this kid all year long, and all of a sudden this kid became a college student sounding essay. So so they are hating it. They said, "Oh, I wish that's not available to students," because students are actually trying to use it. And some students are savvy enough to say, okay, they would reduce it to like in a 5th grade level if they're in 7th, something like that. It still sounds very intelligent because it's from the robot. So it's artificial intelligence. So anyway, but I'm telling you, I use it, and in fact, I did training yesterday, this week for 2 days at the school, and I showed them that. They were so excited about it. It's so funny when I did a 3, 2, 1 exit slip, what you learned, 3 things you learned, 2 things you're going to use, and 1 thing you still have a question on. Oh my gosh, they put chat GPT everywhere, and they put brisk teaching. And I'm like, oh my God, my goal was to have you do your planning for next year. Yeah, but I'm using that for planning. And I'm like, well, then you should say something about, we did data analysis before we did your pacing, so you know which one you're going to focus on. Okay, we'll put that too. But brisk teaching and chat GPT impacted them the most. They're so funny. 2 grades I was training, and that's what they were so excited about. Oh, this weekend I'm going to be playing with it. Okay. Yeah. So those are good. Have you tried brisk teaching? Brisk, BRISK
I
teaching.
haven't, but I'm gonna have to get you in our district to do that training.
Yeah, when I have done, I would like to do that in order to show them how to use passage and actually do it in a computer lab. And you and I need to see the writing,
Okay, yes.
and do the textual evidence. I will teach them first, and then let them apply it, and then we're actually gonna see it graded. It's gonna be an opener for them to see their writing being graded
Right.
by a
And
computer.
we're actually doing that this year with a math program that's AI Math, Magnuma. It's out of Sweden. A
Nice.
program out of Sweden, and actually the teachers upload the students of working there. They have to show their work, and it'll begin to categorize it. So we're doing that program this year. We have a math program that actually doing
Math. Okay.
grade it, categorize it, and everything for them. With this weaknesses, going to tell you the mistakes
Awesome.
and all.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So we'll do something like that for writing, because I'm gonna look for you an app that would be kind of similar to that. But I think the writing with the textual evidence is a big one. and teachers need to know how to do it because they cannot teach something they don't know,
That's right.
And I've done the writing workshop with the teachers, elementary and high school at their school. We had so much fun that day.
It's time
But-
for another one, I think.
And I see some of your teachers using some of the things they learned from me, which makes me, feel honored. But anyway, so yeah, those things like that for everyone, those testings are so important at the end of the year because they're almost like like an autopsy. How do you say how do you say that word? AUTOPSY.
Autopsy.
Autopsy, yeah. It's almost like that about this. I cannot ever say that word. But anyway, at the end of the year, but then you have x-rays you are doing x-rays or diagnostics, through the year. But that is one that the end of the year is something that the government, that state will judge each school. They would rank the schools. The funding will depend on it. They would even reward teachers that are, that have gained a lot of growth or whatever. Is that right, Brenda? I
Yes.
don't know how the merit thing is. It's working.
Well, the thing is, they're still putting out information on how the merit would work. And so
Okay.
we just
So it's not
actually
clear
got
yet.
an email yesterday from the department about that. So, and they've
Yeah.
been clustering teachers and their students and lining everybody up with their
Yeah.
teachers. Yeah.
So you're going to be rewarded if you teach. I thought, the thing with that is you teach the core areas that are tested, which are literacy, math, and science. And so if you're teaching social studies and other areas, then too bad.
But and to me, I don't quite agree with that, how they have that set up right now. Some of us have been saying something about it because the expectation is, because they said everybody is a reading teacher.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly why I'm against
everybody
it. Yeah.
go through science of reading. And so I believe that it's the responsibility, not of just ELA, to carry the reading load. And
Everybody.
it's part of the problem.
That's right. And that's why they should be rewarded as well, not just that teacher of record, right?
Right,
Because
they need the support, because I'm telling you, if you start doing that, sometimes educators will say, well, I'm not going to be able to get paid for that. I'm not going to incentivize, so let the ELA teachers do it. And we don't want that type of atmosphere in the schools.
No.
So we're going to keep pushing for them to, even if they don't give them the same amount they give the ELA and the math teachers, but they should get something.
I think so. I agree with you.
Yeah. Because the expectation is that they help with the literacy piece.
Yeah.
We're doing
They have to.
disciplinary literacy with our non-core areas this summer. And so my point is, no, everybody's responsible for this.
Yep. In fact, I always encourage, like, for example, art teachers, when the students produce art, have them to write a short paragraph about it in order for you to help the literacy, teachers. And at the same time, have your kids express what they were thinking while they were doing the art, because you can scan their brain, the person looking at the art would know what the author or what the artist wanted you to know. What they were thinking. Why did they do this? What inspiration did they have? Did they think of their mom? Did they think of, grandma or father, whatever? And so that's, to me, that's the expression of your thoughts as artists, but then you're also helping the score for the literacy. I've always said that, even in PE, they can talk about something about exercise, no, it doesn't have to be every day, but, in some days where they can go outside or whatever, just, hey, let's take 10 minutes, whatever. Let's write about, how you do exercises at home or how you do, it's relating to their context, but it's still writing and expressing themselves. And that's one way of getting to know students, don't you think? You get to know how they think. You're building relationship. But anyway, I think we covered a lot. I told Brenda, it does not have to be long. But thank you so much for spending part of your Saturday with us. And I know it's, our Saturdays are so precious when we work 5 days a week. Now that I'm an unretired person.
That's right.
I really appreciate that.
You work more than I do, I think.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you, Brenda, the last 6 weeks in Mountain Home and then 2 more full weeks, another full week next week. So yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm enjoying it. It's just that I'm being a part-time wife.
All right.
That's the one that bothers me. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Is there any last minute message or wishes that you would want to tell them? These are about right now 70 people right now watching you.
No, I just want to say that be confident. Most of the interviews that we have done with teachers from the Philippines, you all have always been very professional. You're very knowledgeable. Be confident in your replies and your responses. Don't ask questions. Even if you're in the interview and you don't understand something the way it's worded, it is okay to say, could you restate that? And make us aware that you don't understand the question. That is okay, because we know that the language we use in America around education may not be the same language that you use in your country. So it's okay to tell us to restate something or something like that. So just be confident. And like I say, I'm sure all of you are great educators, and it was very nice to meet you all.
Well, thank you so much. Do you know 2 of the schools already asked me to be on the interview panel just because I was there? Yeah, I was there to translate when they say MAPI. Oh, MAPI is music, art, physical education. And, so I was like translating what it is from our country and Philippines. And of course, these things I actually learned from my Zoom participants, because some of them are new. And so it's been good for them, especially for schools that have never hired in international schools. They want their hands held. You were one of the most independent, where you just kind of did your thing. Most of them, I had to hold hands, and try to really take them all step by step. And right now they're inviting me, like, Merlina, can you please be on the interview? Because there might be some things that you could, add. Like, for example, one teacher said, he was very proud that he's now on his own as a teacher. And I'm like, well, that's a big deal to us, because a lot of times unmarried folks stay at home. That's just not an expectation that they move out. Like in America at 18, move out, but their expectations that they will be there until they get married. And some of the married folks even bring their family. And so that teacher being so proud of it, that's why it is, because Kendrick was looking at me like, oh, why is this person proud? I was telling Kendrick, this is why, so things like that, because I would notice some, expressions or whatever. So I would explain.
Well, and also this has been an exciting journey for us, because our students may never get that exposure to other cultures in this way that they're having an opportunity to now. Maria of them brings culture into the classroom, and they share a part of their life with the students. And a lot of our students come from, they don't even get to go on vacation. So this is an opportunity for them to experience a different culture other than their own, that they may not get to have experience without us having international teachers. So this has been a good experience for us. And I welcome international teachers, students in our school, because I feel like that this is the world we live in. And your school should be representative of the world that you live in. It's to me, it's not right for schools to be all one race of people. That's not society. Because we need to know how to get along and be tolerant of others. And I think this is one way for us to be able to do that. They need that experience. They need that exposure.
That's why I get more people calling me, because Brenda is so good at telling.
It's good for us. And people say that. I've had people come to the school say, I noticed that you have international teachers. I said, I do. I have like Mr. Naimuna. He's an African teacher. And then I have Filipino teachers. And now we're looking at hiring a teacher from the Middle East. So I tell people all the time, I think this is what our kids need. I think this is what society needs.
Yep. If you cannot take them internationally, you bring international to them. And that is a good point. Yeah, love that. And that's why she's so progressive superintendent. She thinks ahead and, very so visionary. So those are some adjectives I could use for you. I'm not embarrassed to say that, because you agree, I bet. But anyhow, I'm just Brenda's biggest fan. So anyway, I really would like to appreciate you and tell you how your kindness is appreciated, because Saturday is so precious for educators. So thanks for giving us your time, and I appreciate it. I hope to see you next week. I plan to be there next week. So
I will
yeah. Okay. See ya.
Bye.
Hi, any question for Brenda before she leaves? Anybody that really has a question that she needs to answer? I don't want you to be like, oh, I should have asked a question. Anybody? A bunch of them said on the thank you, Dr. Poole, on the chat.
I see.
So a lot of
Jay.
them are thanking you.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Like
Yeah.
I said, I'm glad I had this experience too. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. You may be getting a lot of they might Google you and send you some
Okay.
application. Hi, for people that attended, please CC me if you do, because they will be asking me who these folks are. I get a call all the time, and some of those that don't follow directions, I say CC me. That's why I know you're applying, and I will look up who they are, because I would get a call like, so and so. I don't know. They did not send me the resume. They didn't tell me their cover letter. They have been watching me on YouTube or whatever, but they just go directly. Well, that's gonna not gonna help. Doesn't help you get the interview, because most of the administrators now I've been dealing with, they actually get the list for me. And I go back to the videos, and I actually would watch the teachers again before I would put them down to be interviewed, because they have to be fluent, they have to know technology, and they have to be kind and dedicated, and all this growth mindset stuff. Those are the things I'm looking for, like Brenda's talking about, because I cannot just say, oh, I know that person. I don't know that person. So if you go directly without CCing me, I would not know. So especially if I've never talked to you ever, and you've just been watching, that doesn't count, because you have to have introduced yourself, right? Don't you think, Brenda? I have to be able to talk to you.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how I vet people. So, okay. Well, thank you so much. And
you have someone with their hand up over here.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Oh.
Okay. You go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, Dr. Brenda. This is Joanne. You've mentioned a while ago regarding the information that was given by Miss Maria. You said that we have to sign up for a club, right? I
A big
just would
sponsor,
like,
club sponsor.
yeah, I just
Yeah.
would like to know what are the clubs that are open for signing up, if in case in Arkansas.
Club
Like
sponsors. Yeah. For
like
schools.
for instance, Maria works with our quiz bowl team. And
Yeah.
there may be like student council that's available. And at one point we had a library club. So once the librarian left, that club kind of went away. So if somebody wants to pick that club up and continue to do it, then we're willing to open that back up. And then, like I say, we have FFA sponsors, FBLA opportunities to be over that, and some of the others that we're trying to get started up again. And so, like I said, it's really, if you see a need, at one point in time, some years ago, we had a robotics club. It started at the elementary school and kind of phased out when we got to the high school because we couldn't find somebody to pick it up.
Tell them, if you don't mind, what FBLA and FFA, because that's not in the Philippines.
Future Farmers of America and Future Business Leaders of America.
Okay.
And so anymore, most schools are actually open to any club as long as it's being approved, by whoever, the superintendent or principal. Then you have the requirement is you have to have a teacher sponsor it.
Right.
My daughter used to be in a school where she said, I want to form a mahjong club. Mahjong, it's like a bridge thing for the
Okay.
Philippines. And she thought like at least 10 of her friends. So there were like 11 members. Those are all Stephanie's friends, because she really wanted to develop that. And they practice at my house all the time. So yeah. So any interest is actually for the interest of the kids. Whatever they're interested, I know that you have like some manga, that those
Manga.
clubs like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
manga.
are being formed at schools now, because I hear them having the announcement that's this club, there's some people forming clubs with Star Wars related stuff, so any interest, if you have enough kids sign up, they will, and there's a teacher you can convince to sponsor it, they would let you. That's the freedom in the US.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
good
you for
question.
that. I was actually
Yeah.
happy because when I heard about student council, I used to be a student council advisor. So that's one point.
Okay.
Good thing to know. I would also like to know if soccer is going to be very needed in Arkansas.
It is in some districts, but not so much in Brinkley. But some districts, soccer is very big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brenda, Joanne here
Thank
is my
you.
second right hand person when Mike is not around. Joanne is very strong in social studies. So if you ever look for social studies person, she will be. You did Indonesia for how long, Joanne?
Yeah, I've been
Another
there for
country?
11 years.
11 years. So she
years
had
in an
those
international
that,
school.
yeah, those that have taught other countries. I noticed that they have a lot of knowledge on diversity. And so anyway, so they seem to be very adaptable. And so I actually encourage them to apply because a lot of times they have some examples that nobody can come up with because it was their unique experience. So yeah. So yeah, Joanne would, yeah, they would remember her. I know that perimeter healthcare in the Forest City was really wanted to hire her, but there's not enough, there's not job that's available on her licensure. But they were saying things like, oh, we're really impressed with her. If there's an opening, I would really think of her. So, things like that. So I just want to feature her too.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will
Anyway.
it be fine
Another
if I will be
question.
asking another question?
Well, last one because she has to leave.
Oh, then maybe I can give the floor to others.
There's
Thank
another
you.
one in the
Thank you for
chat.
that.
So,
Yeah.
Merlina,
Oh, go ahead, Lisa.
I was just gonna say, there's another question for Dr. Poole in the chat. She may want to address in the chat.
Do we
Go
have
ahead.
sports? We do. We have basketball, football. We don't have volleyball, but there has been some interest in that. And also Mr. Roca has mentioned wanted to do that. And I know Mrs. Interia, when she first came, she was talking about volleyball as well. We do have track and field, scouting activities at the elementary school. We do have the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts still in the community. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but they are available in the community. There's also 4-H that's in the community as well, and they partner with the schools on that as well.
Yeah. And because I told them in my Zoom that you need to include some of your extracurricular things that you're willing to sponsor, because a lot of times they would like that. Don't you think? That if somebody says, I have sponsored this or whatever, that would give an interest to the administrator. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's it. That's it. I kept saying bye. Do you know what my husband said? Like, why are you and your friends, you would say bye, and an hour later you're still by the door.
Right? That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, friend, for doing this, and I appreciate you. See you next week. Okay.
Thank you,
All
Doc.
right.
Dr.
Okay.
Poole.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So anyway, everyone, do you have any comments on things that you heard? Anybody that would comment on it? Like Joanne, thank you for asking that question. That's a very good question, by the way. Any comment from anyone? What was something that she said that really impacted you? Like, oh, I did not know that, or oh, that's in America. Something new for me, or validated something that you already believed. Anybody? No comments?
Dr. Merlina?
Yes.
Okay.
Joanne, can you call somebody for me? Because
sure.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Leah Laraga, if you're around. I'm just doing random calling. Dr. Merlina.
No. I mean, is that what you were trying to say? Because I don't want you to you mean, go ahead and tell me what you wanted. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, it was just validating about what you've mentioned regarding the growth mindset, because no one really knows what you're doing, only yourself, right? So she mentioned something about who knows your weakness more than you.
Yeah, I think that's a good
So
point.
if
I
you're
agree
going
with
to
that too.
really PT about what's happening to you right now, it's not gonna work. So
Yeah.
think of growth mindset. That is
Yeah,
one thing that I've learned from her.
Yep, good point. Good point. Anybody else?
Doc, can I try?
Yes.
Okay, Sir Wilson, are you still there? Or if Sir Wilson is not available, so one of our resident attendee, Sir Erwin, to validate it.
Hey, Erwin, did you hear anything from Brenda, from Dr. Poole that you liked, that you found interesting?
Sir
Erwin cannot
Erwin
hear me.
or Sir John? Sir John, I guess Sir John is still there. Some of the West Memphis folks.
Well, that's okay. If they don't, that's okay. But my point of this is that whenever you do an activity in your classroom, you always debrief it. Debriefing is talking about it for just a little bit, just to close that topic. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I think Joanne did a good job on that already. So yeah, just close that topic up with a feedback. with some kind of comment. And students want that wrap up whenever you do anything. Like yesterday when I did the training, I was like, okay, let's wrap this up. Give me a comment, give me whatever, and then now let's go on to the next thing that we're doing. So it's kind of more of I guess I little transition, thing that you do. So debrief it. Lisa, what do you think about debriefing? Do you think it's important?
I do, and I always try to debrief with my administrators before I leave a building.
Mhm.
When I'm working with teachers during the day, especially like at Brinkley, I try to wrap up with those teachers at the end of the day. I usually ask, especially Maria and Christine, because they do the same, they do the literacy. So I try to talk to them at the end of the day about what we did that day, or, anything that they have questions about, or, anything that we're working on for the future, just kind of wrap up with them. And then I do try to check in with the administrator at the end of the day. Sometimes that's not possible because, he may be in or out, or, maybe in another meeting or something like that. But I do think it's important to at least wrap up the day
Yeah.
to let the administrator know what's been accomplished that day.
Yeah. And in the classroom, when you do a lesson, don't you think that the kids also would enjoy that if you wrap up the session, whatever, before they go, you made a little, like a ribbon, you're wrapping it up and say, okay, at the beginning of the lesson, this was this where we had two objectives, this and this. So did we meet it? I actually would go down there to objective. I would check it off. Like, okay, did we check this off? Yes. Thumbs up if you agree, thumbs down if you don't, and thumbs sideways if you think that's maybe. Okay. And so then I have that we wrap it. Let's go to this objective 2. Did we meet this? Sometimes we would meet it halfway. And that's when you would actually be kind of reflecting about the lesson, and while at the same time wrapping it up. Okay. And a lot of times our teachers run out of time. And one, by the way, one thing that students in America would do, I don't know if Filipino students did this, but I don't remember if I did. They would just stand up when the bell rings. And I keep telling them, guys, the teacher is your teacher, not the bell. The teacher would tell you when to get up and leave. You do not just get up just because the bell rang. Have you seen this, Lisa? It really, for some reason, this is really bothers me. And I've told this to the teachers that do not allow them to just get up and leave without you dismissing them, because you should dismiss them, not the bell. I remembered Miss Interior had to do that because they just got up. They were going to leave her science class. And I'm like, we're not doing that. Anyway, yeah. And Lisa, feel free to correct it when you see it, because I do. Anyway, all right. So moving on, we were going to number 7 person. Thank you so much. I
Okay, so
really appreciated Brenda's coming. Okay, 7.
yes
Yeah.
po,
Hello,
it's
good
Ma'am
morning, Doc.
Leia Laraga.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello. Good morning, Doc Merlina, Doc
Good morning.
Lessa, Master Roca, and the rest of the team from the US, and to my fellow educators here in the Philippines, good evening. By the way, my name is Leia Laraga. I am a math teacher from the Philippines. At the same time, a junior high school math coordinator in my current school with 13 years of teaching experience in both public and private school system. My expertise spans through teaching various grade levels, including 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grades. I graduated Bachelor in Secondary Education, major in Mathematics, and I also finished my Master's degree in Education, major in Administration and Supervision. My teaching philosophy centers on a student-centered approach where students are engaged most of the time during my lessons. As a facilitator of their learning experiences, I help them unlock their full potentials, allowing them to explore, ask questions, and learn new concepts in mathematics. I also strive my best to create a positive and inclusive classroom wherein they may feel safe, motivated to learn, grow, and become independent and lifelong learners in preparation for their good future someday. I aspire to teach in the USA because I want to engage myself with diverse students and educational practices, and to broaden my knowledge, skills, experience, strategies in an entirely different culture. That's all, Doc. And
Okay.
good evening once again.
Yes, good evening. Good morning here. But
I,
okay,
sorry.
Leah. Okay, self-reflection, 1 to 10. How do you rate yourself?
Lucky 7.
Okay, lucky 7. That's my lucky 7. That's my lucky number because I got, yeah, hang on, hang
I
on.
also
Let
like
me,
that number.
hey Mike, can you take over? I need to answer Jet real quick, okay? Let me, I need to, hang on. Mike, please take over real quick. I'm gonna have to answer my son.
Yes po, Doc. Thank you very much po. So once again, thank you for attending po. I think it's already 11:21 in the Philippines, and we still have a lot of teachers who will introduce themselves. Be patient, and just reminding everyone of you here to include your name, educational background, teaching experience, what kind of teacher or anything that you do in your classroom that is unique, and also your reason for teaching in the USA, and the additional. Okay. How do you focus on students as requested by Miss Bailey? And so, do you have any question while we are waiting for Doc Merlina?
Sir Mike,
Yes, Ma'am Giselle.
kanina hindi ako, I'd like to talk kanina regarding with the Dr. Poole, but I really had a difficulty in understanding her words. It's so slang, Sir Mike, and I have
Yes,
to
yes,
read her
yes.
lips
You will, yes
so that
po, you will really
I could handle.
encounter that. Yeah, even ako po, I'm also experiencing that. And then sometimes, especially in my classroom, I have teacher assistant who are all locals, black, and sometimes I just agreed on what they're saying, and then they were asking, "Did you understand what I'm saying?" Because you will not really understand what they're saying.
At
Sometimes
first.
they speak, yeah, very not actually fluent, but they're using their it's like us there in the Philippines. When we are talking when we are speaking in Filipino, sometimes you will not understand some Filipino language, or because of we have different dialects. Like your Tagalog in Bisaya are different from the Tagalog in Luzon or in Mindanao. So it's
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, it's like that. That's just something that you can get used to, and that's what I'm talking about with Mary Chris. Working in Helena, said that the first month she was here, she could only understand "Good morning." Everything else to her was like, oh, those, So, but that's very normal, and you will get used to it. So, I want you, those that could not understand Dr. Poole, I want you to look at the video when I post it, and I want you to listen it several times because it should get better. You will understand it. It says that our senses sometimes takes 21 times. I don't want you to watch it 21 times, but when you are like trying food that you don't like, and if you're supposed to be trying it 21 times, on the 22nd time you're supposed to like it. I don't know if how true that is. I did not want to try it with something I don't like, but for watching a video, you may want to watch it more than 2 or 3 times. That way, see if you can understand better every time. And just have a self testing yourself, self examining yourself and seeing if your ears would you be trained to do that. Because if you want to work here, you in all probability you're going to be hearing Dr. Poole's accent everywhere, because the local folks would sound just like Dr. Poole. And I never had any problems understanding, just because I've been here 30 some years, close to 40 years. So Lisa, did Miss Lisa leave already? I think she said something about leaving. But like, is it easier for us to understand Miss Lisa over Dr. Poole?
Yes,
I guess me,
yes,
Doc,
yeah.
I
Is
am
it?
now able to understand Dr. Ma'am Lisa more. But the first time that she talked here in Zoom, I also had a difficulty in understanding her words.
Okay.
But maybe I have already seen her, so I
Adjusted.
have understood her now. But Dr. Poole, maybe it's my first time. I have to
Yeah.
read her lips so that I could understand her words, Doc.
Yeah.
And she would not open her mouth that much. So
You can read the lips.
we had the difficulty, Doc. That's why
It's
I did not.
okay. It's okay. I think I'm gonna talk to her about that, but that's a really good thing for us though, because as teachers who want to come here, you really need to watch the recording more than once, because that is something Dr. Poole will be a sample of the accent that you will have to hear here to learn to understand. So, and that is very normal. Don't feel bad that you don't understand, because I also had trouble in 87 when I first met different kinds of folks here in Arkansas. I would understand my husband, but some of his relatives, I felt like they just ate their words really fast, like nosebleed talaga. So anyway, so
Yes,
don't
Doc.
feel bad. Don't feel bad.
Doc.
Don't you
Yes,
think,
Doc.
Mike? Yeah,
Yes
Mike
po.
had
I
problems too.
remember I shared to you, according to my daughters, right? Daddy, I think I want a white teacher than the
Oh,
black teacher, because I really it's very easy to understand the how the white people are speaking. And you told me, oh, it seems like a racist. No, it's
it's
really
a racist
that
statement. That is a racist statement. Yeah.
but yeah, but for a child reason, it seems like for them it's really hard to understand the black people while they're speaking. Like what you said, it seems like they're eating their words, unlike in a white.
No,
Yeah.
no. That the accent you're not used to, because what we see a lot on TV in the Philippines, for example, are based on the white culture. So that's what you're hearing, is that
Mm-hmm.
it's compatible to what we see there, and you don't hardly see very many African American speakers there. So our ears are used to the white culture's ears. You know what I mean? Speech. And so that's why, of course, married to a white person, even his white relatives, I could still not understand all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them speak faster than others. So it is an individual thing about the way that you talk, but it's never a white and black thing. I would never say that. I think it's just because of what we're used to. Our ears are used to that. The TVs that we're watching, the movies we're watching, most of the main characters or the characters there are mostly white, and that is not our fault. That is what the culture has. Okay, so but I would never explain something as a difference between black and white. That sounds so racist. And I know, I
Yes,
hope
po.
you
Yes.
corrected your daughter when she said that, because
Yes.
it's a judgment against another culture. And when you judge about another culture, making some other cultures better, that is judging, that is racism. Okay, and so
Yes,
yeah,
po. Yes.
don't do that. Yeah, especially if it sounds like negative. Yeah. So
Yes,
anyhow,
po.
so I,
And now po,
yeah,
yeah, as of now, they really understand now how the classmates, their teachers speak well now in the
yeah.
classroom.
So they have adjusted.
Mhm.
Yeah, good. I'm proud to hear that, Mike, because
Yeah.
that is a problem with most kids that are coming to America, not just Filipinos, but other culture
Yes, po.
too. They have to adjust to it, and they will adjust to it. And same as other culture, they have the same issue, because in their world, they're also being dominated by by white people talking. Not quite a lot, and that's I think a Hollywood issue. They should put more African Americans and other culture as a main character. For example, like the Crazy Rich Asians, for example. I'm so proud of it, because there's not very many Asian films, a film that's in Hollywood that is being that's featuring the Asian culture. In fact, they're making a Broadway out of that now, and I don't know when it starts, but I am going there to see it, and I'm gonna invite some Filipino teachers to go with me, because I would love to see that. That's one of my favorite shows. And so, if you get an invitation from me, that would be when I find out, start saving money. I think it might be in New York. So, yeah. So those that
Doc
are interested in
Merlina,
Broadways,
please
yeah,
include us.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but you're not here yet. If you're here, yes.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, go back to our Zoom, because we are already going 3 hours, and we still I felt like I've
11:30.
only
Yes
talked
po,
to a
yes
few
po.
people.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And we're still on number 8, Ma'am Laylene Sabado.
Okay, Lalaine Sabado.
Yes, sir.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
good evening to
Or
all.
did I forgot Ma'am Leia Laraga? I guess I forgot Ma'am Laraga.
She
Right,
started,
Ma'am
and then
Laraga.
she got
I is
she's yeah, let me comment on her first because I have
I'm
Leah. You did a good job of greeting everyone, Leah. You greeted Mike and me, and then even that yeah, that Miss Lisa too. She was still here, and then you also mentioned that the years that you taught 7, 8, 9, 10 in the philosophy. When you said engage most students, you might want to say all students, not most. You don't want to leave anybody behind. So you have to say the word we engage all
Oh,
students. Okay? You address the needs of
thank
the
you.
yeah, that you address the needs of the diverse students. You know, they're different, but you want them to be all engaged, not just most. Okay? And
Thank you so
I
much.
circled the word I circled the word most on my on my thing here, my notes. So self-reflection, how do you rate yourself? 1 to 10.
Again, lucky 7, Doc.
Oh, you said 7. You said 7.
Yeah,
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 I mean,
yeah.
I would tend to agree with you. I think you look at your notes more. What I would like for you to do is, if you have a cheat sheet like a note, and all of us do that at first, you stick it on on your monitor where you are just looking at it, but still looking at the camera. Because right now, a while ago, you actually looked down a lot. Your eyes were looking at the notes, and it's very obvious. Because if you're looking at me in the camera, you're looking like you just have it with me like we're doing now, and that's much better. That interview is better, and you were listing like a lot of lists like this and this, no example. So break it up the list by showing an example. You say this, I say something, and then I would say, for example, this is what happened, this is, and then you say another one. You say, okay, in my classroom this looks like this. You have to like just talk to me and tell me some example. Do not give me a grocery list of things. Okay, I don't want listing.
Okay, Doc.
Yeah. So just remember that. And example is always missing. So anytime that you mention your classroom, it's always a powerful thing. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you,
So
Doc.
yeah, thank you so much for being here. And I hope you attend again. Okay, number 8.
Okay, Doc.
Yeah, thank you. So number 8 is Lalaine.
Yes,
Yes,
po.
ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
Doc.
Oh, Leah. Okay, Lalaine. Okay, go ahead, Lalaine.
Yes, so hello, Doc Merlina, Miss Liza, and Sir Mike, and to all the educators here. Good morning to you and good evening in the Philippines. So I am Laylene Lacanilao Sabado, an elementary teacher with 19 years of teaching experience. 5 years in a private school teaching kindergarten and preparatory level. And then I have 14 years teaching in public schools. So I'm currently teaching 6th grade at Bascos Manambong Parte Elementary School in Bayambang, Pangasinan, Philippines, teaching all the core subjects area. So I graduated with Bachelor of Elementary Education, minor in Science at Pangasinan State University, and then I also have my Masteral in Education, major in Educational Administration. I also took the Master in Education, major in Educational Leadership, and then pushed through my doctorate in University of Pangasinan, major in Higher Education. So presently, I am studying in Universidad de Dagupan, taking Master in Education, major in Special Education with 24 units earned. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. As a teacher, I provide quality education to my pupils through effective and engaging teaching strategies and technology, such as PowerPoint presentation for them to be more interested and more fun in learning. And also, I use Kahoot for them to evaluate. And then I also adapt the needs of the 21st century learners. And I make sure that my pupils have meaningful learning experiences by providing the opportunities to explore and improve their communication skills, both in written and oral language, as well as in their numeracy. I love to do actual presentations to boost their talents, like the on-the-spot commercials, essays, so that they can express themselves and improve the confidence in speaking and writing. So as a teacher, my philosophy in teaching revolves around engaging learning environment where every child feels empowered to reach their full potential and I believe in hands-on experiential learning that caters to diverse learning styles and abilities. They do experiments, outdoor activities, real life situations to promote critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. So to end my introduction, I want to teach in the USA because opportunities for professional development, access to resources and technology, and diverse student population offered varied teaching experiences. And it's also my dream to experience snow.
Okay.
That's all. And thank you.
Okay. So self-reflection, 1 to 10. How do you rate yourself?
I think it's infinity 8. It's because I do believe that learning is infinity.
So I have you choose 1 to 10 and you choose infinity?
Yes, it's 8 because I do believe and also because everyone has room for improvement. So as to learning, it's infinity. Because as a teacher, it is a learning day by day, not only in the books but also in the experiences of my pupils.
Good job. By the way, I grade you a 9 with 3 stars. So you were very fluent, you were very natural. You gave a lot of examples. When you did technology, you did Kahoot, you mentioned you know what kind of technology, PowerPoint, and so on. And anytime you said something, you always followed it up with examples. You didn't move on to another list. You actually gave details on it. And that's what I was looking for. So what I was telling everyone to do, you did. Okay, so keep it up.
Much.
You only look a couple of times, you only look, but you were very natural. I can tell that you're very fluent and that you like teaching. You're very you're very friendly looking and look like you wanted to, you are a learner. So yeah, you are 9. So you graded
Thank you so
yourself.
much, Dr.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Keep going doing what you do. And by
Thank
the way,
you.
I'm so impressed how educated you are. You're more educated than me. You have master's degrees galore. Did you finish your doctorate too? Did you have your doctorate?
It's just 42 units earned, ma'am. It's because here in the Philippines, I thought I would be a principal. So
Okay.
that yes, ma'am. So that's
Yeah.
why I keep on learning about leadership. But
Yeah.
then my focus for today is to impart my culture into the diverse learners wherein I can see myself in the USA.
Yeah, good. Visualize it. Yeah, you're very fluent. You are very knowledgeable. You will have less chances of having administrator job here because a lot of times a school would actually grow their own. That means that they want to grow their teacher to become a leader. So so if you're really serious about coming here and you like Maria did, and she became now like a leader in their school. So I will not be surprised when she becomes a permanent resident here that she will become a leader because Dr. Poole is already grooming her as such. So anyway, but so yeah, I think that's a good decision. You're very well educated and looks like you're a professional student also. Yeah. Yeah, you mean professional student is what we call it because my husband started calling me that after 10 years of college here. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Good job.
Thank you
Great
so
job.
much, Dr. Maria.
Amazing.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
One of the best. Okay. So Mike, we need number 9.
Yes po, Maria Christine Tamayo.
Okay.
Is she still here?
Good
Miss
morning,
Ma'am,
Dr.
Morning.
McCullough,
Yeah.
Ms. Pa. Good morning and good evening to all the fellow teachers here. I'm Maria Christine Itamayo and I've been teaching for 12 years already, 2 years in the private school and 10 years in the public school here in the Philippines. And I'm teaching, currently I'm teaching STEM students in senior high school. I'm a graduate of Philippine Normal University with the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physics for Teachers. And also, I had my master's degree in the De La Salle University with Master of Science in Teaching Physics. So, currently, in our school, I am aside from being a physics teacher and a research teacher, I am also the robotics coach and the research coordinator of the teachers and students in our school. And My teaching philosophy is building a positive relationship with my students in an inclusive learning environment. And I make sure to use differentiated instruction to address the unique needs of my students. When it comes to physics, I allow them to do laboratories. I allow them to solve problems also. And in research, I allow them to choose whatever topic that they want to cover for their study. So I also refer on my class record or my class data to plan for my instruction in class. And I also believe that learning is a lifelong process, and I make sure that I am updated in the current educational trend and strategies. That's why I always join international conferences. Well, in fact, I had a research about using interactive simulations because I'm a science teacher, and we know that in the Philippines there is a very limited resources. So for me to let the students explore more in the science subject, I allow them to use interactive simulations. And I did a research about it, and I was able to present my research also in Amsterdam, Netherlands, and in Japan, having
Wow.
that instructional materials. So for me, a good teacher should be patient, and teachers should motivate their students to do their best also. So I develop healthy relationship with them, and I make sure that they always engage in our learning sessions. And of course, we as a teacher, we really need to make our learning fun or our learning session fun. So I offer the student choices. I make learning interactive. I use gamified instruction. I allow them to do laboratory activity. And as what I've said a while ago, I utilize technology by using interactive simulations, specifically the FET from Colorado. So
Mhm.
I use them
Mhm.
in my class.
Virtual
So
lab, virtual labs. Okay.
yes, virtual lab. Since
Mhm.
in the Philippines, we only have one laboratory and we have 6 sections to teach.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's why I use virtual lab
Mhm.
in teaching science. So why do I like to teach in US? I want to pursue my passion for education while experiencing a new culture. We all know that teaching in the USA offers a unique chance for us to immerse ourselves into a new culture while fostering our professional growth. So for me, it is really a dream come true to teach in the US.
Okay.
So that's all. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Okay. Self-reflection rating, 1 to 10.
I think 7.5 because I'm a bit nervous.
No, you are 9.5 to me. You are
Thank you.
very, yeah, you're very fluent. 3 stars. You're very fluent, and you really added examples. I love the FET example. By the way, simulations is how you say it here, not simulation. So they're
Oh,
not going to know what you mean when you say simulation. Everybody, let's say simulation.
simulations.
That's right.
Simulation.
Yeah, okay, it's I.
Simulation.
Simulation, okay?
That's why
I,
I only use Sims in
yeah.
short for it.
Oh, okay. But next time,
Yes.
be confident by saying simulation. Okay,
Okay.
because that's how it is here. If you ever do an interview and you say simulation and they're like, what? They're not
Oh,
going to. The simulation is what they would say. No problem. I just wanted to say that for everyone, not just for you. And when you say USA, make sure you put Philippines, you say the USA, the Philippines. Yeah. There's always the word the with it. But other than that, I really think that you, even though you look a little bit on your cheat sheet, you're very natural. You're just talking to me, and you're very pleasant. I can tell that you really like education, and looks like you're also loved. I circled robotics. That's awesome. Make sure you feature that on your interview because they're always looking for robotic sponsors, people that know about it already. So do you do the coding? Did you learn coding? Did you teach coding to your
yes.
students? Yeah,
We
so
had
that's
training for that. And but since our robotics kit is very limited, so there are only few students that I was able to teach them for the coding.
How much did they spend on a kit there? Like the school would, how much?
A kit costs around 70,000 pesos.
So
So we
that's
only have 3 kits in our school. So each kit, there are only 3 students that is allowed to use it.
okay. So that's about $1,400. That's 1,400 here. They call that 1,400 instead of 1,400. So that's 1,400. I think most schools would spend more than 10,000, more than half a million here. Yeah. So
Oh.
you have lots of them. Well, it's more expensive here. I know that. Mike, do you remember what Dina said that they spent on hers? Was it 13,000? That's close to a million. That's about 700.
Ma'am Dina Huen po. I can't remember po.
I think she said 13 something
Yes,
thousand.
po,
I think,
$13,000.
yeah, yes, she said that because I was thinking, wow, that's like a lot of money. And so that's about more than 12 times what they spend on one, on one there. So I'll be a dozen, they would buy about a dozen or more, I guess, here. But thank you for sharing that part because especially research, and make sure that when you mention robotics, you mention about teaching kids coding. I got training, I received training, and I teach my students coding, especially in Arkansas. Coding is a really big word here because they want the students to compete in coding competition here that the state does, and they want the kids to learn coding as early as elementary. So they would have kids do coding for like games. So anyway, so those are things that are good to say, and I'm very impressed with you that you have presented international. That is something that you should also focus because that is something that not very many people can accomplish, was able to accomplish. But when you said that, you need to also connected to students. So when I did this, then my students benefited from this because I used whatever I learned in order to help them become better, whatever. Okay, you need to always follow it up with how the students impacted by what your accomplishment was. Okay, always connect it back like an invisible string towards the students. Every time you say something, have that invisible string that ties straight back to the students. Okay, otherwise it will just be like you saying about you instead of a student. So remember, we need to be student centered and not teacher centered. But otherwise, you did an amazing job of introducing yourselves and giving examples on what you did. You said something about making it fun, offer choices. All those things are great things to do. And you could even follow it up by saying, for example, I did this one and then my students had a choice of this or this, or they made their own choice. I didn't have a list of choices. They came up with their own choice based on their interest. You could say something like that. But other than that, you really are close to perfect. So good job. You're a little nervous a little bit, but that's about it that I didn't give you a 10. So yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Dr.
Thank you. I did not start rating people, but now I'm like, with 4 years of experience, I felt confident now that I can rate people. It's terrible, but you did good. You did very well. All right, number 10.
Ma'am, yes, it's Ma'am Jubilin de los Reyes.
Okay.
Jubilin de los Reyes, are you still here, ma'am?
Hello,
Okay,
yes.
she's still here.
Good morning, Dr. Merlina, Sir Mike, and Ma'am Joanne, and the rest of the team. Then to my co-participants, good evening. I'm so nervous.
No, you don't worry about it. Don't be nervous.
I am so very thankful, Dr. Merlina, because I was able to join the orientation last time and this time, and I learned a lot. And it add to my desire to teach in the USA. So I am Mrs. Jovelyn Pantanape de los Reyes, a public school teacher for 11 years, graduated Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in mathematics. In my first 5 years, I was assigned in a remote area in Masbate where there is no electricity, and I was challenged because I teach in an annex school and I am their first national teacher. And I see the financial struggle and life struggle in that area. But I also see the hunger for learning from the students. And that reason strive me to do more than I can or what is required to me as a teacher. So as a teacher, when you walk through my classroom in that area, as a teacher, you can see in my classroom that we do activities. But before at the start of the school year, Dr. Merlina, I always see to it that I do profiling with my students. I always read their cards and the anecdotal records of the students, so I can see who are those, and I do groupings with my students. And when you walk through in my classroom, you can see that I have different activities. I started with group collaboration. Then, provided that I already giving them the instructions, then after that, they will do on the group collaboration. I always see to it that all the members has their parts, especially those students who are or learners who are who find hard time in explaining their task. So yes, I see to it that they are assigned, especially if they are good in writing, they will be the secretary. And the other members of the group who is not that uh, good in explaining, they will do the as material manager, so that they will not left behind. They cannot feel left behind in the group. Then after the as a teacher, I always roam around and giving their activities. I always assess if ever there are questions, because I know that there are groups who will find hard time in doing the activity. So I always make sure that I am there to assist them. Then after that activity, it will be followed by a group sharing or a peer. No, it's a peer. Where in one student will act as a little teacher, and after that, the last activity would be individual activity, wherein the student will do on their own, and the teacher will only act as their facilitator. On that area, on that school, Dr. Merlina, I always see to it also that I do outdoor activities, because I have observed that the student is focused more on their life struggle, because I was able to be there or act as their guidance counselor act as their guidance counselor for a while. Then I've heard a lot of testimonies from the students. So I make sure that in every activities that I have, I always include outdoor activities, so they can engage more, and they can be also happy in doing the activity. So now that I am in my new school, I was able to handle AP, Araling Panlipunan, Science and Mathematics for grade 8. But on my previous school, I was able to handle grade 7 up to grade 12. My teaching philosophy anchors more on love, because my experiences in that area in Masbate shaped me as a person and as a teacher as well, wherein I always say to it that my classroom will be our home away from home for my students. And I always give them the equal opportunities, wherein my student can participate in the group, in peers, or in an individual activity. My reason, Dr. Merlina, in applying to the USA is that I want to grow more as a teacher. I also want to experience cultural activities and teaching diverse students, because I feel it in my heart that I need to learn more from other cultures, so that I can give more when I'm back in the Philippines for my students. That's all, Dr. Merlina. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Okay. All right, good job. You have long, how do you grade yourself, 1 to 10?
I guess it's 7. I'm so nervous.
Yeah.
I don't
Your nervousness, you remember what Dr. Poole said, that you have to be confident. Your nervousness very obvious. And that affected your smoothness in your delivery, because you were struggling to form sentences because of your nervousness. So how to fix that is to practice, write your script down, practice in front of people, in front of the mirror, and then I want you to do a 2-minute video for me. Send me a smooth one. Okay? Because you need to have hands, and I don't have the time for second chances. In fact, you should not have the second chance. If you were to introduce myself before, you should just send me a 2-minute video. Okay?
Yes,
So if you have
Dr.
introduced, if you have introduced me before, you should just more of a participate as a participant. You do not need to take somebody else's stuff that's never been here, because you should just send me a 2-minute interview. Okay? And introduction. Okay? But good job though. I agree with 7. I would agree with 7 for both of us. Yeah. So, but you can make it into a 9, close to 10, 9.5. Yeah, you can do it, because you have good content on your interview. I like that you said about, looking at the students' records. That's a good thing. Do not use the word profiling, and I've said this before, because in America, the word profiling is now have a connotation of negative. Like they would do profiling in the airport and they would pull certain people because of how they look like. So that's been used negatively here. So do not use profiling. Say, I get to know my students by looking at their cumulative records. They call that cum here, or cumulative records. So use the word cumulative records. And then I look at the anecdotal records is good. And just get to know my students that way. But just do not use the word profiling, because they're like, what? You're gonna use look from administrators when you use that word profiling. Okay. So use cumulative records. Yeah. Use cumulative records in order to know your students. You said something about me, that which strive me. You should have said to that led me, that encouraged, that inspired me to become a better teacher instead of strive me. That doesn't make sense. Okay. So make sure you don't use the word strive. You can use the word strive, like I strive to become better, but you don't say something strive you. You need to say something led you or something inspired you. All right. Sorry, that's my literacy specialist coming.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But just know it comes from the heart. I'm not here to pick on you. It's here always to help you. Okay. And that's all I think. I love that you said about guidance counselor. That means you're really helping the emotional needs of your students, and that's the thing. So those things you should continue to say. Okay. Just correct the strive part. That's all.
Yes.
I like the reason that
Noted.
you said, yeah, good philosophy. All right. Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yeah. 11, Mike.
Yes po. It's Ma'am.
Cheryl
Yeah, it's Ma'am
Kalingasan.
Cheryl Talingasan. Okay.
Okay. Cheryl.
Good energy, everyone. I am Cheryl P. Kalingasan from Quezon City, Philippines. I graduated at Philippine Normal University with a degree of Bachelor in Secondary Education, major in General Science. And I have my complete academic requirements in Master of Arts in Teaching Science at Iris, Manila. Currently, I have my 24 years experience in teaching, 3 years in elementary grade, 13 years in junior high school, 1 year in college, and 7 years in senior high school. That made me a better teacher in handling different personalities coming from those level of students. Um, my teaching philosophy is that I ensure that every child succeed because I support the 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 DepEd Philippines in implementing the inclusive education, meaning that there is no child will be left behind. So every child are entitled to a teaching and learning processes with without gender inequality, providing them quality education, and especially now that I am handling a student with ADHD. So I handled him by giving additional tasks. I evaluate him not because of the the skills that he have, but based on the talents that God gave him. And at the same time, I am not evaluating him based on the academic performances because I believe that he is not inclined with that. So next is I also encourage my students to do and be part of the community where they are living, especially in preparation with the hazards that we have in the Philippines, such as typhoon, floods, and another thing, I also encourage my students, especially STEMs, to do battery tests in preparation for their college level.
And then I also ask my students to do art in presenting models such as eclipse and
Teacher Martina, thank you
explain
so
it
much
in
for
the
this.
front of the class to build
I
their
miss.
confidence.
Excuse me, Jovelyn, will
I
you please
think
mute yourself? Thank you. Sorry.
um,
Go ahead.
I think my experience being a teacher equipped me to be ready in teaching in the US, and of course I want to explore the world that no other travelers see how beautiful the world is. That's all now. Thank you.
Okay. Um, okay, Cheryl, how do you rate yourself? 1 to 10.
7 months.
I'm sorry, but I will have to do 5. You know what? Because it's very obvious that you are very nervous. Your confidence need to improve. And also you look too much at your cheat sheet. You're almost talking to that cheat sheet instead of to me. Okay? You need to talk to me and you need to give me examples. Love the 24 years, and I love that you said something about what years you did, 3 years elementary, 13 years in junior high, and it makes you sound very attractive to hire because you have all these possibilities of different buildings you can teach in. That's a good thing, okay? And but really a big correction for you is the ADHD part. When you said something about you give them additional tasks, that's not how you handle ADHD. ADHD cannot focus. It's like almost like a channel like a TV channel that's continuing to change channel. That's what ADHD is. They're like they can't focus. You do not give them additional task, okay? Because and you do not say that I do not base their grades in academics only on the talent that God gave them. I never say that. Okay, we always judge our children not on the talents, but on the academic performance. And how you handle the ADHD is that you may want to put them in, make sure in the side, not in the middle, because they would be distracted um, on the left and then the right side. So I always put them like maybe in the front where they won't get, in the front, on the side, on the front, so that they won't be distracted. The least distraction, the better. Okay. And a lot of times for ADHD, you use a timer. You use, like you say, I used to do this for my students. I'm like, how many minutes do you think it will take you to do this? And he would do a guess. I'm like, I bet you could do that. Yes, I could. And I'm like, okay. So I would give them a timer, like, just a cheap timer, give them a timer and they time themselves. And I'm like, okay, try to beat it then. Try to meet it or beat it, and they would always do that. And then from then on, they would a timer because they want to know how long it will take them. Then later on, they wouldn't even need a timer. But it's like a little the little crutches thing that I give them. And then they will eventually kind of monitor themselves and kind of know what they can do. But you never do please don't say what you said because because you don't want the American administrators thinking, okay, so these Filipino teachers, if they have ADHD kid, they will just give them more job. That's a big no. That's the opposite of what you should do because they can handle what you're giving them now. They need to focus more, which means that in order for them to focus more, you actually sometimes would even have to give them less. But the thing is you need to help them to cope, which means, you do things like putting them on the side. Sometimes you even have to like isolate them if there's a room in your classroom or they're facing, you or whatever, but not the other students. You put them there closer to your desk, looking at you, things like that, so they can focus. Because if they're looking at the other kids, they'll be distracted. Okay. And always say it's always based on the academic performance, not ever the talent that God gave us. Otherwise, we'll all get A's if we think that we are talented. Okay. But explain to me why you said that, because I'm very confused. Tell me why you said that.
Ma'am, because here in the Philippines, students are arranged heterogeneous. So not all the students are inclined in math, in science. Some are
Okay.
talented, some are good in speaking, in writing, in doing art. So that's how we evaluate our students here.
Well, so you
Sorry.
are telling me that because we have multiple intelligences, so if a child is not talented in math, I don't have to grade them in math. I'll grade them on their, because they're good at being an artist. I will grade them as an artist. Is that what you're telling me? Because that's their
Yes,
strength.
ma'am. Because here in the public school system, we are not allowed to fail the student.
So,
So
Joanne or Mike,
we
help me
have
on
to
this.
pass them.
Okay, you help me on
And
this, Mike. Would you what would you say to Cheryl about this?
um so sad, ma'am. It's a reality in the Philippines that we
Oh,
are not allowed to give failing grades to our students because our school head will always tells us that it is a teacher factor. So what we do is that when we see the student come to school daily, even though he is not doing his job, we have to grade the effort that he is going to school daily. So we have
um,
to look on it na lang.
I would
oh,
rather say you do the effort instead of the talent that God gave them. I would rather have you say that we grade them for their efforts, for them trying their
For
best,
the
the best
effort.
that they
Okay,
could.
thank you for
Yeah, I would
the
rather
term.
do that. Yeah. Because it makes it sound like the Philippine, oh my God, the Philippine schools are just doing this. That sounds negative to our country's,
yeah.
thing, because I'm sure that's not what the administrators mean, right? What do you think, Joanne?
Yes,
Um,
ma'am. Thank you for that term.
uh,
Yeah.
I am not, I have no experience in public, but then as a teacher, we need to be very good with differentiation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is one thing that will really make this ADHD student be adjusted with
Yeah.
whatever difficulties that they are experiencing.
Yeah.
Plus, it's not a Philippine system. I disagree with that. Though I have heard that we are not allowed to fail our students. But the question is, did we really give our best? Because
Mm-hmm.
yes, it is a teacher factor. But
Yeah.
did you give
Well,
your best?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that you made great points there, Joanne, because it might be an administrator's point of view from your administrator, but that doesn't mean is the point of view of all the administrators in the whole Philippines. Okay, I understand that part, but it's very misleading when you say you are grading them based on the talent that God gave them. That's very to me it's confusing. Okay, and I know it's not reality. So although you may be thinking that way, please don't express that in your interview. Okay, although that's your
Okay.
thinking, don't say that. Okay, Cheryl.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Differentiation pieces that Joanne
Hello,
mentioned.
Doc.
Yeah, the differentiation piece that Joanne mentioned is a good thing. You say I differentiate, in handling my ADD kids by this way, by doing it this way. For example, I give him a timer. I let him time himself or herself, and then that way eventually you will know exactly what the tasks are not that hard, that is not as hard as he thought it was, that he could focus
Yes,
if the time is over there. Yeah, because I have dealt with so many ADD kids, and that's how I handled it. And the timer seems to have worked for me for years. So try that, okay? You might want to try that
yes,
if
ma'am.
you want. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
But thank you so much for
Noted.
being brave to do this, Cheryl. I want you to practice more, okay? And I want you to send me that 2-minute video that I could include with your resume and your cover letter, because I can tell that you really love kids. Just make sure we may have to practice like before you have an
Yes,
interview, and I will coach you. Okay, and that's fine.
yes,
Thank
ma'am. Thank you.
you,
Noted, ma'am. Thank
Cheryl.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Hi,
Okay,
Doc.
yeah, good
This is
job.
Hello,
Jen.
Doc.
Yeah, go
Hello,
ahead,
Doc.
Lizzo.
Uh,
Can
Lizzo,
I add something?
yeah, Lizzo Antonio. What is it?
Yeah. Actually, we are allowed to fail students. Um, Unfortunately, some of the teachers opt to not to fail the students because there are a lot of attachments needed, a lot of explanations needed. So, in order not to do that, to do a lot of tasks. So the teacher then the teachers decide to just pass the student.
Yeah, so it's more of a shortcut. Is that what you're saying, Lizzo?
Yeah.
That is shortcut for some teachers. Yeah, and that happens in America
Not,
as well. because especially
Uh,
special ed kids, we cannot fail special ed kids because then you have to attach all this documentation. And so a lot of times
yeah,
teachers will just give them like a 70. 70 is a C, barely a C. 69 will be a D. And so a lot of time they'll just do like 70. And I remember doing that when some
yeah,
of my special ed kids, but these kids were really working hard, but that's the best they can do. Okay. But I still did not judge them by the talent God made them. No, I did not. The efforts that they were putting in, I would use the word effort, I think. But thank you for that input, Lizzle, that you are allowed to fail,
yep,
but just a lot of paperwork. And that is true in the US too. Some people, for that reason, for that kid that I had was actually had a mental retardation, MR. So really, he was showing me all the best that he could do. There's nothing that he could have done more than what he did already. And so that was an effort grade for me. Okay. And so,
okay.
so yeah, good point though. Very good point. Thank you for clarifying that. I think Cheryl will learn from that. Cheryl, and she's very brave to come on and introduce herself. So she will hopefully practice her script for 2 minutes, then go look in the mirror and send me one. Okay, Leslie, do you have something to say, Les? Leslie Caboynes, talk to
Hi,
us.
hi, ma'am. I texted you
Hi.
a while ago. I wasn't able to come in because I just took my practice test. Practice test earlier.
How did it go?
It went well. I passed the test.
Hey, everybody, let's give her a hand. Yay!
That's
I'm so proud of you, Les.
I just need one more practice. I took two practices already, so this is the second one, and I passed it.
Yay!
And thank you, ma'am. But I just want to say hi to everybody and bye because we left home at around 5:30 in the morning
Oh.
because I took the test at Harding University, and it's like 2 hours and a half from from Helena. So we traveled really early, and so we didn't eat our breakfast. So we're here at the Filipino restaurant here in
Yay!
Surrey. Wilma. So we're gonna eat our breakfast, and I
Tell
just want to.
Wilma. Yeah. Hey, I want you to give the camera to Wilma. I want to say hi to her. I know her.
I don't know if she's here. She
Here?
didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't see her yet. The
Okay.
person who entertained us is a local, so I'm not sure.
One of her daughters usually. Oh, yeah, it's a local. So one of her daughters are usually there. I know the whole family. They've gone to my house.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's amazing. What a small world.
I know. Yeah. Tell her Merlina said hello. Okay.
I will,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for guiding me. I mean, the practice that I took today, earlier was fundamentals. So the 5511, that was 4 subjects were included: the math, the English, the social studies, and science. And yeah, it was overwhelming, but I passed it. Passing score is
Good job.
138, and I got 161. So
Whoa.
yeah, so
Yay.
I prayed really hard last night. I wasn't able to study really, that well because of the annual reviews that I'm having, especially that I'm a special education teacher, so I didn't get to study well. But I'm glad for your help and for the prayers and for God for guiding me along the way. Thank you so much, ma'am, and
Well,
thank you
you're
everybody.
welcome. Thank you for sharing that great news, Leslie. I am not surprised that you passed your test. Every test you took, you've taken one time. So I'm so proud to have. I'm so proud to have played a little role in bringing you here because you have really excelled.
No, that you did not play a little role. I mean, like almost everything that I have achieved in here, that's because of you. 90% is because of you. But thank you so much for everything, ma'am. Thank you for especially for bringing me here, for helping me reach my dreams in life. Thank you so much.
Good job. You're doing an amazing job. So keep it up. Okay.
Thank you,
All
ma'am.
right.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank
and
you.
have a great night. Have a great day. Bye, ma'am.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Have a good lunch. Okay. 12. Mike, 12. Are we Lizzle? Are you introducing yourself, Lizzle?
It's Ma'am Erna po, Irma Hugan o Hugan?
Hogan, sir.
Hogan. Okay,
Oh,
got
Hugan,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, Dr. Merlina, and to our host this morning, Sir Mike. Good morning, and to all the aspiring teacher attendees joining us on this online platform. Good evening. Oh, good morning. Good morning. It's already 12:29 here in the Philippines.
So I am grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this online platform and discuss my passion for education. So I am nervous. Okay. So my name is Erna Y. Hugan, a passionate educator from Cebu, Philippines. So with a profound commitment to nurturing young minds, I am honored to share a glimpse into my educational journey and aspirations. I have earned a bachelor's degree in elementary education, major in general education, which has equipped me with a broad understanding and proficiency in teaching various elementary subjects. So my pedagogical journey commenced in 2009. The same year, I obtained my teaching license, where I began by imparting English as a second language to Korean learners for about 3 years. So this initial foray into teaching laid the foundation for my passion for education, which flourished upon my transition into a full-time teaching in public schools in 2012. So in pursuit of continual growth and professional development, I've augmented my academic credentials with 30 hours towards a master's degree, Master of Arts in Education, major in administration and supervision. So throughout my enriching journey in education, I have accumulated um, a wealth of over a span of 12 years as a dedicated teacher. So this extensive tenure has not only honed my pedagogical skills, but also deepened my understanding of fostering a positive and effective learning environment for my students. So during my career, I have had the privilege of working with diverse age groups, including the foundational stage of grade 1 pupils. So this experience has not only equipped me with a comprehensive understanding of early childhood development, but has also instilled in me the patience and creativity required to make learning a joyful and memorable experience. So currently, I am interested with the education of 31 bright minds in the 5th grade, where I strive to cultivate a love for learning and critical thinking. So my role encompasses teaching a range of elementary subjects, allowing me to contribute to the holistic development of my students. And as to the core of my teaching philosophy is a commitment to fostering a nurturing and inclusive classroom environment. So I believe in creating a space where every student feels valued, empowered, and inspired to reach their full potential. So I incorporate hands-on activities, collaborative learning, and make real-world connections to make learning meaningful and relevant. So I also encourage student voice and choice, allowing students to take ownership of their learning. So by differentiating instruction and providing individualized support, I ensure that all of my students can succeed and grow academically, socially, and emotionally. So as you step into my classroom, you'll notice that my classroom is not just a space for instruction, but it is a dynamic environment where all of my students are actively engaged in their learning journey. So different learning stations beckon students to foster various subjects through hands-on activities, group collaborations. And in my class, there's always an opportunity for growth and discovery. So as a teacher, you'll see me not as a lecturer, but a facilitator of learning. I support and guide my students as they navigate through challenges, encouraging critical thinking, and promote collaboration, and also
Too
and
long,
also
too
a safe
long. Finish it up
community.
because it's too long. It's too long. You are,
Okay.
your introduction is too long. Yeah. Finish it up, please.
So why the United States? So why the J1 teacher program? So my aspiration to teach in the US is fueled by a desire to immerse myself in a culture of educational innovation and diversity. So the J1 teacher program provides me an opportunity, or provides a unique opportunity to collaborate with esteemed colleagues, exchange ideas, and for me to be a part in vibrant educational landscape, and it also enrich my teaching practice in a new cultural context. So that could be all, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Did you write your introduction using ChatGPT or another app using AI?
Not really, ma'am. So I just search some of the information,
And you put it
but
together.
yeah.
Okay. Well, it just sounded like an AI. The lot of the multisyllabic words, a lot of the adjectives, it sounds like an AI. But anyway, just wondering. Very long, too long. You need to stay within 2 to 3 minutes. So if you want to do a video and really make it smoother, and because you look at your cheat sheet a lot, so what would you do on your rating, self-rating? How would you rate yourself?
I think 6.
6.5, 6.5 to 7. Yeah. I'm actually giving you higher than what you think. But what my the things that I would recommend to you is that you have some really great words. However, you may want to like stop and give example. You did that in some places, but maybe because you're nervous that when you're nervous, yeah.
First time.
Yeah, it's okay. And that's very normal. Don't worry about it. That's why I want to give people opportunities to like practice. And after that, you videotape yourself doing time yourself. Make sure it doesn't go over 3 minutes. So with 2 something will be okay. But because then you'll be concise, you'll be telling me things that really you mean, not what some research that you did in Google would have said. It's really you. It's about you. What do you feel about children? How does it look like in your classroom? You did say something when you come to my room, you see this, and you are very well educated, 30 hours with your master's in administration and all that. There was some mispronunciation that I want to correct, not just you, but everybody, because this is a cultural thing. And the thing that you said, say the word tenure. How do you say that?
Tenure?
Yes, it's tenure. It's tenure. Yeah, you don't say you are. It's like tenure. Like yeah, it's a tenure. Yeah, no problem. Everybody, let's say tenure.
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 Yeah. Tenure. Yeah. See, we have a different accent there. Yeah.
Tenure.
So, tenure. I have tenure. Yeah. It's different. How about
Tenure.
GRO? Okay, GROWTH.
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 Guys, do not say growth
Growth.
like this. You say grow.
Growth.
Grow.
Growth.
Yeah.
With
You
a
have to
long
say
O.
oh. You don't just say growth like that. You say growth.
Growth.
Yeah, growth. Yeah, you say the growth. You have to say growth. Yeah, the O need to be
Growth.
okay. Yeah, say growth. A professional growth. Yeah, you say professional growth. You say growth. My professional growth. Yeah.
Thanks for that,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. How about contribute? Do we say contribute? Do we say contribute?
Contribute.
Yeah,
Contribute.
contribute. Yeah, not contribute, not con. Yeah,
That's
contribute.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And other than that, those are things that everybody can learn from. And I love that you smiled a lot. You're very positive. You have a very great voice. You have like a radio voice. You could be an announcer. You enunciate it like you're an announcer, which should help in your confidence. So that if you just get rid of the nervousness, I think you'll be fine. Okay, no problem at all. Yeah, but if you want to do a 2 minute, and you can send it to me. It's Mike or Joanne. Would you please type my email there? It's mcculloughmerlina@gmail.com. You can type it there, please. Copy and paste this so that you can send me. For those that did not send me your resume and cover letter, make sure on your resume, make sure that you have a copy of a picture on the top right or left of your resume, because I want to see that picture. And then do not include any personal thing. Don't tell me how much you weigh. Don't tell me how many kids you have or if you're married or not. Religion, I don't want those. I don't want your parents' name, nothing. I just want what I said to you about your professional information, what you said in your introduction. That's all I want. Okay. Because that's like Dr. Poole said, we're not interested in that. We want to know you as a professional. Okay. And then another correction that I have is, do not ever say references upon request. Nobody will request it. Okay, so you have to provide it already at the bottom of your resume. Have at least 3 people there, and you can put me if I know you well. But if you only talk to me once, I don't know if I know you well. I have to go back and review. But like Giselle, for example, yeah, if she's been there, like, oh my gosh, maybe she only missed once. I don't know if she even did, but she knows, she knows me. I could really confidently say, Giselle, put me in your resume, put me as a reference, and you put down the title of the person. Is it a colleague? Is it a principal? And all that, and put their email and phone number. Make sure you have at least 3. What somebody told me yesterday, an administrator told me, Merlina, we have a lot, and obviously they're not my members, because they said we have a lot of Filipino applicants, but you know what? They put their resume, their references, but we had emailed them and nobody answered, not a single one. So we cannot even interview them because we did not hear from their people that, their references. So that's one step that they do before they interview you. They have to talk to your references. So when you put those people down on your resume, make sure you tell them, please check your email often, because they will send them a survey, a little survey, like 10-question survey. And all you have to do is pick 1 to 10, what you rate that person. And then there's a couple of boxes there that ask about your strengths and weaknesses. And that's all. Very simple, very less than 5 minutes, they're done. But they need to be checking their email, because if they don't answer and you don't have the 3 answered, you will not be a part of the interview. Okay, because that's one step, that's one thing that they require. So I have been administrator, so I know I know this is true. So do not ever put references upon request, because they will not have the time to do that. Put it down. Okay. All right, those are the 2 things that I really, sometimes I would send a resume back by saying, you didn't include any of your extracurriculars, things that you do outside of school. If you put accomplishment there, do not put anything that's not related to students. Okay. And also, do not put me your PD two-page list and every date. No, don't do that. Okay. I want you to pick 3 to 4 PDs or professional development training that really impacted you and changed you as a teacher, that impacted you. And as a result, you have changed your teaching and taught your students differently. Those are the impactful PDs I want. I don't want a list of it. Okay. Nobody wants a list of it. Don't have time. Okay. So things that really matter, that means something to you. And if you can coach something, any of the sports, you put it down there. The clubs that you're a member of, especially teaching related clubs, you can put it there. But do not give me 2-3 pages of your PDs. I don't want it. Okay. All right. That's all. That's all that I have. And so, Irma, Irma, what do you have any question for me? Because I think you just need a little practice. You have 12 years of experience. I love that you said allows voices and choices. Your voice and choice. Love that. I even wrote it down. That's a good one to say. Okay, good one to say on your interview. And anyway, so your things are very are good, but it sounded like an AI job. I want you to take that. I want you to simplify it in your own words. Okay, because it's no longer like you. It's almost like you're reading something that an AI produced. And that is
Okay.
not a good interview. Okay. But other than that, awesome job. You're very pleasant. You're very good to talk to. Okay. All
Thank you
right.
for the opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I love your outfit. Cute.
you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 13. Thank you. Come
Doc,
back. Yeah.
should we have the practice from Ma'am Jocelyn?
Yes, Ma'am Jocelyn, I've been waiting on you. And I know we're losing people. We're down to 52 now, 18 people left.
Yeah.
Well, of course, they're sleepy. Jocelyn, I want you to practice with me. So where are you?
Hello.
Yeah, so you
Great
have your
evening.
interview. Hello. Hey,
Hello.
so let's pretend that what school is it that you're gonna be interviewing with?
Road Ridge, Doctor.
Okay. Okay, so you need to find out, they're going to introduce yourself. I want you to do a research. I will write this down if you want to. I want you to research the community and the website. Find the website of that school. I want you to read everything in that website, especially their board meetings. They have a board minutes, they have board required information. Under that board required information, they would show the meetings, the monthly meetings that they do. So you will know more about what's going on in that school. Okay.
Yes.
And another one is look at their payroll. I mean the salary list, the salary schedule. Look in there and then look at the policies. Like if they have student handbooks, teacher handbooks, they would always publish those. In the teacher's handbook, it's important for you to read so you know the expectations for the teachers and notice their motto and their vision. One of those is short, memorize that and include it in your answer. Okay, memorize the shorter one. I don't know if it was a mission or the vision, but one of them is short. And then also if you look at the student handbook, I want you to pay attention to the discipline. Okay, for the discipline, what do they do? First offense, second offense, third offense, fourth offense. Some schools would say the first time just write their name down on a verbal warning. The second time it could be, you need to call the parents. Third time maybe going to the counselor. Fourth time maybe writing something to go to the office. So the last one could be an ISS or in school suspension. They have different schools do it differently, but it's always going to go in levels, up and levels. You don't want the kids to do that. But you have to know what their policies are, because after all, if a parents get mad at you and sue you, if you are following the policy, you're good. Okay, but if you're not following it, they could say, well, she should have followed this policy that we put in down. So it's important for all of you to always know what your policy is, whatever school you are employed, and follow that, because that I could not stress it enough. Okay, and also they might have policy about like phones, especially high school. The phones, they have a policy of either some of them would put a basket, when they come in, they have a basket, they put it in a basket, and when they leave, they take it out. And some of them would say, leave it in your locker if they have lockers, or leave it in your backpack, but it has to be off. So if it goes off, that means you did not turn it off. I take it away from you, and that could be sent to the office, and the parents have to pick it up. So it depends on how strict the schools are. Okay, some schools are so loose about it that they say, well, we use it for instruction. Some teachers would actually use it to use app like Poole Everywhere. Some of those apps that need phones, but not very many. Most of the teachers in the schools in Arkansas are strict about phones because kids would not pay attention. I was strict when I was teaching 11th graders, 8th graders. Because they'll end up not paying attention to you, and they would just be texting their friends. Sometimes I ask them, okay, put your hands on your desk, because I know some of you in their jacket, wintertime, they're going to be texting under their jacket because they're so good at it. They're texting. So I said, okay, put your hands on your desk. I want to see those hands, because the phone was supposed to be off, in their pocket or in their backpack. But anyway, so tell me about you, remind me about you, because I want to know what to ask you depending on what you teach. Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Introduce yourselves. Tell us about you.
I am Jocelyn R. Bumangan, a licensed teacher who graduated with a bachelor's degree in elementary education with a concentration in teaching English as second language or other language. As an educator aiming for continuous professional learning and development, I pursued my higher education. I graduated with a master's degree in elementary education and a doctor of education in an accredited university here in the Philippines. I am regular permanent public elementary school teacher with 13 years of experience, and I am a master teacher who currently teach 6th grade
ages 11 and 12. And at the same time, I am honored to mentor colleagues in our school and the whole division district through my appended roles as one among the district focal person in research and human resource concerns. And with my teaching license, I can teach kinder and grades 1 to 6, all subjects. My main customers are my learners. My main task is to prepare, implement, monitor, and evaluate contextualized, innovative, engaging teaching learning environments that are based on the learner's diverse needs. I also undertook differentiated instructions to cater to different learning levels, styles, and even multiple intelligences learners. The numerous teacher-made, contextualized, and localized that pass the quality assurance for LRs such as small books and big books, developed and redeveloped, are currently utilized by the whole district and even the schools division that benefit thousands of learners for kindergarten to grade 3. I use MS PowerPoint ClassPoint for our learners' interactive quizzes and discussions that the learners really enjoyed, which was also my focus for my dissertation that benefited around 100 of learners. I also use Google Classroom and Google Slides and were maximized in our blended learning. And I also conducted an actual research regarding this. I had the chance to conduct this during our time for blended learning in the pandemic. And this had benefited and made a great impact on the improvement because the parents were also involved in this platform and had also a chance to conduct another action research for 4th grade learners using synthetic phonics. And I maximized the use of worksheets and manipulative sequencing aid as innovations. At the end of the study, learners under instructional and frustration level increased in their reading performance. I also offer voluntary services in our residence for neighborhood learning in literacy and gospel classes where I use Bible stories to target increase in comprehension performance at the same time the values formation of our neighbor learners. As
You
a
need to
result,
wrap this up. It's so long now. It's so long. It's too long, and that's not good. So wrap it up.
I am guided with realism as my teaching philosophy, and I believe that the essence of education must be evident in the application of knowledge acquired. There is mastery learning when learners practically apply this to daily living to make them competent and responsible community builders who are maximizing their God-given talents and skills. I am very determined and love to teach in the US because as a dynamic educator, I love exploring and growing through experiential learning. And furthermore, I am very motivated to learn and explore more of other cultures and make a difference in every learner by serving as an agent to achieve quality education. And I believe that I will be learning more from my learners, colleagues, and administrators about their best practices in education. That's all, and thank you.
Doc
Hello?
Merlina, unmute po. Doc Merlina, please unmute. Thank you.
Sorry, my phone, my husband's phone was ringing, so I had to turn it on. Jocelyn, did you hear me when I said cut it short? Did you hear me? But you didn't do it, did you? You went ahead and finished.
Yes, was very long.
Yeah, don't do that, okay? If I tell you, if an administrator tell you to shorten it, shorten it. Because if I were an administrator interviewing you and you just ignored me, I would X you off. I would say, I don't want this person because this person does not listen. Okay, so you need to pay attention to instruction because they could do that. If they only allotted 10 minutes to interview you and you're taking already 5 minutes to just introduce yourself, they will not have time to ask you questions. And which means that you're cheating yourself of your own time. Okay, and another time, I don't want to be mean to you or anything, but it's just that I want you to get this job. Okay, and to get this job, you have to listen. And I love that you're very, you have a lot of education, lots of experience, but there's a lot of mispronunciation that you need to correct. How do you say education?
Education.
No, not edu. It's education. Education. It's not D. It's not education. It's edu. Like edge. Can you say edge? Let's say
Edge.
education. Yep, education. Yep, educate. Everybody, let's say education. Let's say
Education.
Yep, say education. Do not say education.
Education.
Yep, do not say education. Okay, you say education. Yeah, another one is colleague.
Education.
Colleagues, not colleagues. Colleagues. Yep,
Colleagues.
colleagues. Mhm.
Colleagues.
How about continuous?
Continuous.
It's not continuous. It's continuous. It's a was.
Oh, it's a
Continuous.
was. Continuous.
Continuous.
Continuous. Those are things that I know it's not a Jocelyn thing, it's a Philippine thing. Okay. So Jocelyn, don't feel bad about that because benefited. How do you say benefited in the Philippines? Benefited. How do you say
Benefited.
benefited? Okay, some of you got it right, some of you got it wrong, but anyway, how do you say
Benefited.
DISERTATION, the thing that you write before graduating for your master's or doctorate? What do you write?
Dissertations.
Dissertation.
No, it's not dissertation. It's dissertation. Dissertation. It's not an I. It's a dissertation.
Dissertation.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, in the Philippines, we say dissertation. They're not going to know what that is. What? Dissertation. Yep, I have to write my dissertation. Yeah, just remember that it's not it's a cultural thing. It's a Filipino thing. So don't ever feel bad if somebody like me would correct you just because I want you to be understood. Because a lot of the comments from administrators is because, well, Merlina, that person is not fluent, that person mispronounces things, and the problem with that is our kids are gonna not understand them, and then they're gonna tell their parents that we have an international teacher and we could not understand her. So that's why we have low grades. Is because we cannot understand the teacher. And that's why I make a big deal out of it here, because I want you all to pronounce the words correctly. Education, continuous is a continuous, work that I did, and I have continued growth, professional growth. I have, I have tenure in that school, all that stuff. We just need to colleagues. I love my colleagues, love to work with my colleagues, things like that, because these are things that are very common mistakes. These are common errors. But Jocelyn, you have enough content there that you should do well on that interview. Just cut it a little bit, okay? That's all. And then good stuff. Put more examples, okay? I want you, because right now it's a list. So for example, you're saying something about let me look at this example here. You said something about the learning styles and multiple intelligences. You could stop and say, for example, I have a child in my classroom, and this is where you light up, because you're talking about your child. I have a child in my classroom who's so talented. Oh my gosh, he could just sing like nobody's business, like a Hollywood star. And then because of that, I made sure that when they do role play, I made him a role to be the background singer, for example. So you give them an example of how you're using their multiple intelligences and their learning style in order for them to shine as a student, right? So give examples in the middle of it. Don't just make a list like you're talking to the screen. Talk to me. Okay, talk to me and tell me about your kids and how that looks like, because you look so good on paper, by the way. You have very good education and so on. So you need to look good also on the interview, on the oral interview, because you look so good on paper. You're one of the best that I've seen on the education part. Okay, so just really excel in that and be confident. You got it, girl. You got this one. So then let me ask you a question. What would you do if you have unmotivated students in your classroom that would not want to do the work? What do you do?
If I have one learner unmotivated to do the work, I would talk to him personally, maybe during recess time or lunch break, and would dig into the root cause of why he didn't want to do those tasks given earlier, and just tell him or her, do you want something to tell to teacher, or what made the activity uninteresting, why you were not motivated to accomplish, or just if he or she refused to talk, maybe I would give him a chance to tell it again to me. But if I observe that this persists and it is continuous, then I would now involve the parents. I would ask them for support to just talk about it. How is he or her at home? I want to tell you that he is good attending the class, but there's something that I have observed that could really affect his performance, and I would want to talk about this to you. I believe that I am looking forward for the support, and we can do this all together. What can we do to deal with this persistent behavior? Yes. Mhm. I cannot hear you, Doc.
Okay, Miss Jocelyn will just give back Merlina time, yeah. You might be
Yes.
working with her husband kasi.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Sorry. I am so sorry. My husband was talking on the phone with a friend and it's really loud and you could not have been heard. Sorry. Anyway, being mean, I was asking him to say it, but it's okay. He understood. But hey, you answered it partly correct. Okay, I love that you said about about talking to the parents, and you said that you will talk to the child. Don't say you have to talk to the child on the lunch break. Or if it happens now, you have to address it now. So you can put some independent work with your other students, and you pull that student outside. You know, a lot of the schools in America, they have a little like a glass thing that you can still pick on your students while talking to another one. So you can be picking there, make sure that in charge. If I have a president in my classroom, okay, president, you're in charge. I'm gonna be, so with so and so for a few minutes. Let me just talk. And then you have somebody in the leader of the class will be in charge because that's how I set up my classroom. And then you talk to the child because you cannot wait till recess. In fact, in America, if they don't do the work, they're not going to recess. Their recess is yours. Okay, they use their lunchtime. Their lunchtime will be at the state as a place where they serve there because they did not do their work. They'll be working during lunchtime. So they're not going to get any break at all because that is part of the punishment here is that they could lose their lunch recess to you. Sometimes they could eat lunch, but then they have to, after lunch, they have to go to this classroom, specified for kids that do not do their work or misbehave. Sometimes if it's really bad, it could go to in-school suspension, which is ISS. That means they really will stay there 2 or 3 days in that school with a teacher, but they're very strict. They can't talk to each other. Nothing's almost like a prison. But it's ISS, so in-school suspension. And then if parents are against that, they could be suspended for 3 days. Okay, they could not come to school for 3 days. And so anyway, so your approach of talking to the student was good. You just need to make sure that you are immediately addressing it. That's a thing that you need to make sure you do is address it. I took care of my kids by having a leader take care of them, or you could ask a teacher to step in. A lot of the classrooms in America have bathrooms in between each other. So it's like a Jack and Jill bathroom. So this classroom would share with another teacher's classroom right here. So both of our set of students can use that bathroom. So a lot of times when I really need to talk to students, I would like to, the teacher to step in and be watching them from the bathroom so they could watch both kids. And that's what they have done. We've done it for each other a lot with my neighboring teacher. So you could do whatever like that. You must make sure that you have addressed the needs of the other kids while you're addressing the individual need of this child. And I love that you said about digging and finding out the root cause, because you want to know what you can do to help. Sometimes it might be something that you can help, but sometimes it might be a counselor that needs to help because they are trained to do that. So you might want to ask the parents and make sure, what do you think is can one of our option be sending him to the counselor to talk, because they're trained to do that? What do you think? So you get the input of the parents, because getting the counselor is a serious thing. That means the child has been doing it all year long, but one incident is not going to do it. So one incident may be just enough to talk to that child. Well, I had a bad day last night. Last night my dad got picked up and go to jail, or my grandma died, or something like that. They have something really bad, urgent things that are happening in their lives, and they can't focus on school. So that's why it's important that Joanne, that you do not call the parents immediately. You have to talk to the child first and
Yes.
get the scoop, okay? Finding out what's the deal, because sometimes it's just a one-time thing. That week is bad because my mom and dad just got divorced. Things like that. It could be, you have to know your children to know how to investigate it. Then once investigated, you're going to have to examine, is this something that's going to happen again? Okay, you need to have that problem. Okay, can you my favorite things to say to the children, okay, so what's your plan? Tell me about your plan. You didn't do this. So what's your plan? Let me, teach me what your plan is. Because tell me again what you want to be when you grow up. Well, I want to be a doctor. And I go, okay, so you want to be a doctor and not doing your work. Do you think that will help you become a doctor someday? Do you think doctors would have to do their homework? Oh, yes, ma'am. So, okay, then if you really want to be a doctor, I want you to be motivated in order to do this work. I want you to do it, okay? Because doctors have a lot of homework when they get there. They have to study a lot about diseases and things that they have to research in order to know how to help their patients. So right now you are actually learning all these little skills that you will eventually use as a doctor. So you need to have me help you, okay? So I would actually talk and be on the level of child. I don't want to be standing up and this child is like, I always would be on the level of the child. Sometimes I have to I don't kneel, but I just sit down so I could be on the level of the child if the child is young. And I do that so I can talk to the child on level. That's important. And then let the child know that you care. I'm so sorry to hear about your grandma's loss. I'm sorry that you have to deal with. If there's something I can do to help you, let me know, okay? I'm here as we're like family. Things like that. You talk like that. So deal with the child, and then if it's serious enough, let the parent know, because you'll communicate. Most teachers here have a Friday folder. Every Friday, their child will have a kind of progress for the week, a behavior report or whatever. Some teachers would even do a daily folder where the child will have a daily folder that the parents would look. What did you do today? What did you do? You have stickers in your folder or not? So the parents is for really bad that you really need to let them to know. But if you can handle it for one-time basis, handle it. Okay. All right. So unmotivated children, same thing with if they're lazy, they call them lazy, but you don't call them lazy. It's called unmotivated. How about if you have to deal with struggling learners? How do you deal with struggling learners?
I can deal with struggling learners by looking into the assessment, and I have this individualized learning plan designed for them. Example, in reading, if they are reading below their grade level, then I need to prepare intervention materials according to their level based on the assessment. That's why it's very important to have continuous assessment. And then we do this in my class. We have this functional literacy assessment tool that we use to assess these challenged learners under the instructional and frustration level. So, because it will affect their performance in science, mathematics. If they don't have the basic in reading, it really pays a lot of the challenging moment to the same. The result in English would be they would struggle also in mathematics, in science, and in other subjects. That's why it's really important that we have this individualized learning plan, continuous assessment, and of course, we also monitor their success. That's why we have this report every month that we submit, and it also pays a lot of effort to increase the number of learners in the higher level of literacy, functional literacy, because at the end of the school year, because I'm teaching grade 6, it is really a challenge that at the end of the school year, all of these 41 learners should be functionally literate.
Good. Good answer. Perfect answer. You could not have explained it any better. I love that you always start with assessment. You are supposed to always start with assessment. you need your assessment to match your instruction. And so because you have to diagnose it, so you have to assess and know where the child is. And I love that you mentioned your monthly progress reporting, so you're tracking progress. And I love that you mentioned intervention. So what kind of intervention I can do? Effective intervention is supposed to be at least 30 minutes 3 times a week. That is what research is saying. So you have to have at least 3 times, you have to have at least 30 minutes. And so you could mention those. Those are really important things to say. Because it shows what you know. It's obvious that you know a lot about literacy. And then but I love that you said about the basic, learning the basic in order for them to be successful in the other subject areas. Perfect. Love that. And yeah, and in the end you said something about they need to be high performer, learner, increase the learning in that high performing category. And I love that you also mentioned you have 41 learners, because they're gonna be, what? 41 learners? That's a lot. Yeah.
Well,
They're gonna say a lot.
I did
'Cause
assessment within 1 week before
Yeah.
the submission of report. I let them
Wow.
read one by one.
Wow. We have a 30 limit here. A lot of times we don't go over 30. So some schools, that doesn't mean other schools are not, not following, and they do over 30. But a lot of times you would never see anything over 30. So when I taught in a smaller school where I live right now, Salem, I I hardly had more than 16. So it's perfect for me to have 16 because I have 4 groups of 4. Perfect, and all this. And sometimes I would have 13, 14. It's really good because we were able, and it was self-contained, regular 4th grade classroom. And I was able to teach all the subject areas. And so we pretty much did project-based learning, because I have all the time, to incorporate all the subject areas, but then it's hands-on things that they actually would do something with. We were doing commercials, we were doing, weather prediction, we were doing cooking, we were doing all kinds of hands-on things that I know they would learn they would have to use outside the world, outside this classroom. So I try to put that there. When we did haiku, I brought in a Japanese lady to talk about Japan, and showed us the tea ceremony, and showed us how to pour the tea, and then how to make some sushi with a cook rice, cook rice and cook shrimp. But anyway, so I kind of take the world to our world, bring it in like that. But on this one, you could not have answered any better. So if you include data, it's always good. Okay, so that's a good answer. How do you deal with angry parents? What if a parent comes to you and very angry? How do you deal with it?
Angry parents really have, there's a reason why they feel that way, but if they come to school like a fire, then my role is to become a fire extinguisher. Of
Good job.
course, I need to be tactful and let them speak first, let them tell their concern and listen to them. And I will address them tactfully. I understand, Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, your effort of coming here and bringing your concern. And I appreciate if you would just tell me what happened. And we are here to listen. And can we be of any help with that problem? Please tell us what you want to happen, and let's do it. Let's talk about it diplomatically, and you're very welcome. Come, let's have a seat and tell us more something about your concern. And if the parent, I believe that if that's how we deal with it, I don't agree if fire would still persist. I think it will that person would come down.
A lot, okay?
Yes, and there, if he or she now is ready with concern, then we just need to listen. And if we are involved directly with the concern, then it takes a humble spirit to apologize if you really know that you have negligences with that concern, and there, make a deal. So how would we do it better? Because we are partners in the education, and I believe that if I, as a teacher, was the one concerned directly, I can make up for that. Please give me a chance, and I can do it better with your support. And I really appreciate you bringing this as me for me to improve. And if you would still have, we're good after this, and we can make things, iron out things after this. And thank you for your understanding and your consideration. Yeah, just tell it like that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Three-fourths of the answer that I would have answered. The one that I like is that you're very welcoming to the parents, and I love your fire and fire extinguisher analogy, because that really is the right. And yes, addressing them, greeting them, addressing them very respectfully. Have them to sit down, because they're going to be puffing and huffing and puffing. So you have them to sit down. When they sit down, you do not need to stand up, because when you stand up, it's like a power thing. So if they're seated, you need to
Yes.
be seated. Yeah, both of you seated. Take a piece of paper. I want you to write down in bullets what they're saying, because once they finish, you need to say, this is what I hear you say. This happened, this happened, this happened. You look at your notes, okay? You tell them, is there anything else that I missed? So you're actually telling the parents, I'm paying attention, I'm writing it down. That's how important it is to me, is I'm writing it down, and I'm giving it back to you to tell me, did I take it note correctly? Is there something I need to add to my notes? So now that they say, okay, you got that. I said, so and then they're going to try to talk about another child or whatever. Do not let them talk about another child, okay? Because that is a privacy issue. You do not let them talk about another child. You do not need to tell them how you punish the other child. No. Okay, so I will deal with that with the child and the parents. You do not tell another parent how you deal with another child. That's a big no-no. Okay, so he said, okay, this is, as you know, we are partners in education. So thank you, partners, for coming in. And I'm sorry I'm sorry that you have to go through this, and thank you for telling me. And you said that you did all that stuff. And so let's see what plans we can get as partners. What do you think is a plan that we need to do? Can you help me with a plan? Let's come up with a plan together. Because you're showing that you have not made a decision. You are actually wanting their input. You're including them. You do not just decide. If you have a true partnership, you ask your partner. So I said, because when they came to they came to the school, they already have a plan in their head, what they want to happen. So tell me, share with me what you were thinking that should be the outcome of this. What's your expectation? And, let's talk about this kind of type thing. And a lot of times you're right. They're very calm when you get done, because they have been heard, and you said something about, let me look into this. You don't have to make a decision then, because you have to investigate it. You don't just believe one side. And when I was assistant principal, they would always have a report of somebody bullying or whatever. And I said, okay, let me write this down. Let me put a date on it, the time, and then I'm going to investigate. I need to have at least 2 or 3 people to tell me if that really happened. I would not tell the parents this, but anyway, but the thing is, you tell the parent, you are giving the message that you're listening to them, and then you know about their concern, you took notes of it, and you are actually planning for some solution. And then, of course, the most important part of this is your follow-up. You're going to have to make sure that I want to make sure that I do my part of, like, studying, if that's really true. After that, I want to follow up and calling the parents back and say, hey, parents, this is what I found out, and all this. So now your plan could change based on what you know. But the thing is, you have communicating back to the parents. You don't just, like, that's the end of it. It's not the end of it. You have to follow up and call the parents back and tell them what you found out, so that what's our final plan? Now that I am more informed about the situation, what's our final plan? Let's do this. So there's the communication back and forth. Okay. But so that's what I'm saying. 3/4 of the way done. You did 75% of what I would recommend. Yeah. So what was it that's missing from your part? What was missing in your part of your answer that I told you? What was missing?
It's the listing of the events, and I would review to the parent if this, did I get you right, your concern? And after that, I missed also the part that let's do this. I need to emphasize that we are partners, and I am concerned with how we can partner together on, and after that, the follow-up. If I have
Mhm.
made also my investigation, further investigation, I need to follow up with them. Call, messages,
Mhm.
to show
Yeah.
that you really were interested looking into the solution, or
Mhm. Mhm.
you are really concerned of the problem to be fixed with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
especially if it involves another child. But if it's just about their child, you don't have to investigate. You already know. You can make
Yes.
decisions then together. But if it involves another child where you have to really find out, that's when you do that. But still, even if it's about their child and you make decisions together, you still need to follow up in a day or two. So what's going on? We plan to do this, and now you plan that you were going to help me at home to that this child will do home, your child will do homework, and this child did not. So how can we change our plan? Because this still did not happen. They could say things like, we need to take their devices away. I think my child is addicted to devices, and is, instead of doing his homework, he's playing with his phone. So we're gonna plan to take the phone away. And so you can do those. And then with my classroom, for example, I do a communication notebook. So I write, every day my children write to their parents, and in everybody does, and then I will read it, but I only read like team on Monday. I would read team once. On Tuesday I read team two. They don't know that, but the others, they'll just put the leaders in that group will put stickers on it that they did it. They have stickers that leaders control. And so, or stamp that I have made that it had my signature on it. Whatever that it was seen. Okay, they did not read it, but it was seen that it was done. And then I would read so Monday, Thursday, Friday, Thursday, and then that's for my 4 groups. On Friday, I would go to the kids that are always misbehaving, kids I'm always concerned about. I focus on them, which means that I saw theirs twice. Okay, that's what I did, because that's a communication notebook. So if I were doing that with that problem, I would have written in a communication notebook that this is what I noticed and all that, and the parents would have answered me, because it's a three-way communication: parent, student, and teacher. So it's very effective in communicating back and forth. But with technology now, you have emails. You can email, you can text, you can do all that stuff. Okay? So use the technology in order to communicate with them. Okay? Or sometimes they would be picking up their child, and you could be in the line and talk to them real quick, So you can do that while they're picking their child up. Anything like that. Okay? All right. So what did you miss on that answer? What would you add to your answer if you were asked that question?
Maybe, Doc, I need to have reflection in order for not to have that matter be repeated. Or if
Yes.
in the near future I have the same experiences, maybe I would be wiser in
Very
dealing with
good.
those.
Perfect.
Reflection.
Yes, perfect. You
Hopeful.
always, it comes out that you're very humble, and that's a good thing. And that you're a reflective teacher, that's a good thing. Okay. And you are collaborative, you collaborated with a parent, that's a good thing. Okay. And you know about knowledge of students. Okay. So those are really, really great things that you should include. So your 5 guide are this, and this is for everybody. You need to say something about your knowledge of students. These are the 5 core propositions: knowledge of content. So to knowledge, content, and student. And then the third one is assessment, which she used earlier. And the last 2 rhymes, it's reflection and collaboration. So if you mention any of those 5 things, or all of them, whatever is applicable, it will make your answer very strong. And that's what you did. I don't know if have you heard me before and did the core propositions, or this is just you? Did you hear?
Dr. I just I just shared what I am practicing.
Good.
And
Good.
thank
Perfect.
you for being part of my application. I really cannot believe, after trying the link that you have forwarded in our last Zoom meeting, that was my first time to attend. After 2 days, I can't believe that the principal invited for an interview, because
Yeah.
in the part, "Where did you learn about this job?" And I mentioned there, I had the link forwarded in our Zoom meeting by Dr. Merlina McCullough, and that's the first part in the preliminary questions. And after 2 days, he asked me to send a lesson plan in reading for 3rd grade level. and he will be interviewing me on Monday for first and third grade. But the
Good.
lesson plan is just in third grade in the reading subject. And I am blessed that it is my specialty, that subject, reading. It's really my passion to
Good. It
become an
shows.
effective.
Yeah. Good. Because your
Thank
answer is obvious. Yeah, it's obvious that you have great knowledge on it. You just need to I want you to research science of reading. Okay, I want you to research it and try to get some quotes of things that you may be able to use when the interview comes. Get some quotes there that might be useful for you, and then try to insert it in your answer, because that shows, according to the science of reading by so and so, your doctor so and so, this one is this. Because I love things like that. When I hear it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this teacher is very knowledgeable. Did not just get it and that just make it up. It's actually coming from some expert. That means you're a student. You study. That you like to learn, which is a good thing. Yeah, those are common questions. Misbehavior, kids that are mad, parents that are mad. How about dealing with colleagues? What if you have colleagues that just not supportive of you and cannot get along with anybody, cannot get along with you? How would you win that over? How would you win your colleagues over to make them become nice to you, or to work with you as a team or collaborator with you? So working with colleagues that are difficult, how do you do that?
Yes. Actually, Dr. Merlina, I have a lot of experiences, and with my 2 years as master teacher, a colleague, at the same time their mentor, I deal with this by getting to know more of the teacher. And as I enter the classroom for classroom observation, I just deal with her or him in post-conference, not as a master teacher, but more of a friend. Actually, I've done this last time. I have, because this teacher cannot get along with all our colleagues. And I brought a slice of fruit, papaya, and I want to share this fruit with you. Come, let's have a snack. And after that, instead of us having a conference, after her demonstration teaching, we just have some topics about what she would want to share, her plans, and her passion in teaching kindergarten learners. Because I have read in your professional development plan that you have this passion of learning more or going on a study, or where would you plan to enroll next sem, like that. And after that, she is really shy because maybe we cannot deal with her language, because in our school we all speak in Ilocano and she cannot understand Iloco. That's one problem. And I've seen this as hindrance why she cannot get along with us. And during work, she's inside the classroom. We're all outside busy preparing for a program, and I need to call her, come teacher, I believe that you're good in this preparation, and I know that you have skills in this. Come, let's help our co-teachers. They're outside busy preparing for our program for tomorrow. And there, she's really shy because of the language, and she do not want to share snacks with us, even if we call her for coffee. Yes, that's why I will be the one to go in the classroom, and I appreciate her outputs. I write inspirational messages. I appreciate your part of this lesson, teacher, and that's great. And I unselfishly praise her small efforts in my classroom observations. And what still do you need to learn, teacher? Or can I be of any technical assistance in this form? Because she is a novice teacher, first year in the Department of Education in public school, because she was an international teacher in abroad. And that really was a challenge to us, because our school principal told me, oh, you're the mentor of that. Though you should be a mentee, not a mentees.
Yeah.
That's why I was challenged. Yes.
Sounds like you did a good job.
And
Yeah, it was a good job because you formed a relationship with that teacher. you did the first core proposition, which is knowledge of that teacher, and you formed that bonding with her. And maybe because you actually found the root cause about language, and possibly because that person is new, did not have a friend, so did not feel comfortable, and the teacher is a shy teacher also. So you found out all kinds of things by getting to know her, and bringing that food as a snack is a key because you always feel comfortable. I've used it before. I would bring them to get coffee or something with me, and let's just talk about life, talk about anything else, and then later on, when they feel much more comfortable with you sharing some things about their lives, then they will feel more comfortable about sharing about their school life, and so but I would not pry. Like, I would share myself first, and that way they'll follow suit. But I would never just pry and, oh, tell me about whatever. No, I don't do that, because I don't want to. Who are you? I mean, you're a stranger to me. Why am I telling you some personal things? I don't want him to think that way. But I will offer it myself. I have 2 kids and all this, and without even me asking, how about you, they will also respond back. So you actually like handing them your hand, and they will follow you back with their hand, right? And so you have that together. You may want to tell them about what master teacher is. In America, in the Philippines, master teacher is like a person that's like not a principal but a teacher leader. A teacher leader that is that could observe their peers. So you have to tell them what that is, because they don't know that. Here they would call them a teacher leader, okay, or a team leader, something like that. So but a master teacher could be somebody that would be like, I am a master teacher because I have my national board certification. Dr. Poole has her national board certification. We're teacher leaders. We have gone above and beyond. We took the second test above, not just the licensure test, but the national board test, and we passed it. Only 25%, I think, are passing it, and we passed it. So we are called master teacher, but that's a different definition in the Philippines. So make sure you tell them what that is. That although you are a teacher, you are able to observe others, your peers, your colleagues, because you are a master teacher. Do they pay you more if you're a master teacher?
Yes, Doc. We have
They-
higher salary grade.
Okay. So how is
About-
salary? About how much more?
About 2 steps ahead.
Two steps
We
ahead.
are paid 47,000 pesos for master teacher 1. For
Okay.
master teacher 2, 55,000 pesos.
Okay. So about 8,000. So about about $200 more. Okay. So that's that's huge for us, right? So here, did you hear me say what you get paid for? The starting
Yes, Doc.
salary in the Philippines, what is it?
3
Do you remember?
million a year.
Yeah, close to 3 million. It's not quite, depending on if the dollar conversion is 60, it's 3 million, but it's not 60 right now. It's 57 or 58. So it's close to 3 million, but not quite there. But that's still a lot, right? And so that's
Yes.
$50,000, and equivalent to nearly 3 million in the Philippine pesos. So you are a multi-millionaire when you come here. So you have to think of it that way. They can understand it by saying 8 to 10 times more than what I'm getting.
Yes.
You can say that because they can translate the peso conversion, unless I'm in the interview, and then I would translate for them. Okay, so I think you're quite ready. Sometimes they would ask you about things like, if I were visiting your classroom, what do I see? What do I hear?
If you would
That's a
be
lot.
visiting my classroom, you
What do I
would
see? What
see
do I hear? Mm-hmm.
you would see learners learning in an inclusive, learner-centered teaching environment where everybody had a chance to learn at their own level and given the chance to excel in their own interests. And you would see very diverse types of learners in all walks of life, in their social economic status, but they are given equal chances to learn because the teacher is catering to the diverse needs of learners through contextualized learning instruction. And you would see a teacher who facilitates and always look at the strength, emphasizes on the abilities, the strengths rather than their weaknesses. And they're just like, if you would observe me in my classroom, because they are in the 6th grade, I am quite shorter than them. They're tall and larger than me. In a 41 learner, and me standing there, I seem so because they describe me as motherly. My colleague, my students,
Okay.
they describe me.
Okay, so your answer is very general. You do not, you, when I come in, you see students working in small groups of 4, and they would have manipulatives. If it's a math classroom, they would have manipulatives in Ziploc bags, and they would be solving problems. The leader would be, would be reading the task, and the other members, my materials manager would be getting the materials, and they would be discussing things. They would be taking notes because they are expected to present. When we get done, they're going to present to the rest of the groups. And so you would hear them being in level 1. Level 0 means quiet. Level 1 means they're whispering. They're using their inside voice. So when I go there, I'm going to be hearing that, whispering. They're whispering about what they're learning because they are respecting the other groups, not to disturb them while they're also doing their own whispering. And you might see a couple of students in the learning station because the students are already done with this or ahead. So that's how I differentiate it, is I have some things in the learning station that would enrich their learning, because I always have a plan for early finishers. They end up in the learning station. They love that. And so the others were still doing this. So you can see a variety of learning experiences in my classroom. You might see somebody in the science center observing our pets. We have a hermit crab, and they have the clipboard, and they have to write down what they observed, or how they use their senses in order to observe this. And you will see somebody in the math center doing, construction of things, relating to what we're doing. And I have a child that's really good at everything, but that he wants to play chess. So you may have 2 people playing chess really quietly because they were done. Things like that. It would show that you are differentiated. But notice the difference. Instead of me just saying what it could be, I'm actually describing, okay, what they will see. Yeah, and that will involve students. What the actions of the students are, what they're hearing, level 0, whispering. And then it's okay because that's a very productive conversations that they have doing, because these students are expected to present the moment. You could see me setting the alarm because I'm going to be giving them time alert. So they have 5 more minutes. Class, you have 5 more minutes. You need to finish up. You have 2 more minutes. And then when the bell rings, it might be they all still need more time. I may extend it. To class, tell me how many more minutes you need. Okay, 3 more minutes. You need to get this done because we have to present. We are out of time and all that. So that's how you kind of focus them. But they are working, and while the students are working, as a teacher, you would see me monitor, giving feedback to the students. I would say to team 1, maybe, hey, I love the way that you did this. It looks like you are very, you're very detailed on this, and I can tell that your classmates gonna like this because no. I don't just say good job. Good job is a very vague, feedback. You have to be specific on what you are complimenting them on. Okay, so you might hear me in team 2 saying, hey, team 2, you could use some more details here. It looks like it's missing some more. You skipped number 2, so you might want to talk about this as a group, whatever. So the comment that I make would be specific to the task. Okay, and I will praise them. I would be very specific on my praise. Okay, and so anyway, so this is what you need to do, is that you have to really kind of describe what's going on in your classroom, what the students are doing, and what you're doing. Okay, so those are the things that you do if you're being asked about classroom thing that they observe you. Okay, any question for me? What would be something that you wrote down that you will do that you have not told me before that you added? What is something you learned from that? I guess what I'm asking you. What will you add?
I have learned the learning stations and be very specific of what you are complimenting the learners, and you should also describe your role there. While they're doing their part, you also have roles, and I am very thankful because I am doing that, but I was not able to tell you. Yes, you have made it very clear. Yes, it was very vague on my part to give general description.
Don't do that.
Good one.
Yeah. Yeah, what I
Thank you.
tell
Thank
my,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. What I tell my students and even my teacher, mentees, I always tell them that if it's like a movie I make, I need to have a picture moving. So if I'm a painter, I should be able to paint what it is. That's what you need to do. It should be when you answer me and I'm listening to you, I should have a movie in my head on what this classroom looks like. Okay, a movie in my head. You will see in my classroom, you will see a lot of word walls, and these word walls are the ones relating to our topic. We would have word walls in math on the vocabulary that they will be using that week. You might see some word walls, by the science center, because these are the science terms that we're using. In my publishing center, I would have, some literacy terms that they need to know, things like that. So you can, you kind of, while describing your classroom environment, you're also describing the actions of the teachers and the students. Okay. And that's, I think I
Yes.
pretty much covered some of the harder things that they would ask you. Okay, they may ask you about lesson planning. Just make sure you remember what Dr. Poole said about you are planning not, you're planning for students. You have to keep the students in mind. You have to know your students in order to make a very a plan that would address their needs. Okay, and of course differentiation had to be mentioned there and so on. So I think I'm pretty confident that I think you'll do well on this test. Do you feel more encouraged and more ready listening to me, I
I'm,
hope?
yes, I'm more equipped and very blessed.
Well,
Thank you for, yes, thank God for using you as channel unto blessings. We're blessed with all
Welcome.
your expertise. Yes, your
Well,
unselfish stance.
you're welcome. I'm learning from you too, guys. I learn every day and I'm happy that I learned something from y'all. So I don't have all the answers. I always learn from you back. And the things I learned from you, I might pass it to the next person that asks me for help. So thank you ahead of time. You are very knowledgeable, by the way. I'm impressed with your knowledge. Okay. And so go there with confidence that you can do this. Don't ever feel that, oh, I'm Filipino and they're American. Don't ever feel that. I never felt that. I'm like, I'm just as good as you are. You may be Filipino, you might be Americans with long noses that I want, but but I am just as knowledgeable as you are. I have just as much as good education like you are. My language may be different because I'm not here a long time yet, but I will get there. Look at me, 30 years later, I'm talking like them, right? Mura gyapon di Bisaya, no? Bisaya man day gihapon kaayo. Still Bisaya. But anyway, so yeah, I'm from Cebu. So yeah. So good luck on that. And I want you to tell me bad, ugly, or whatever. You tell me. A lot of time they would tell you, we're gonna discuss this. We're gonna get back to you. So don't expect that you will know immediately. A lot of times there's a team there that's gonna talk about it. And how it works in America is they will have a team saying, okay, we want her, but then we don't tell her until it gets approved by the board. The principal would recommend to the superintendent. The superintendent will comment to the board, about 5 people that represents the community, and then they will approve. Once you're approved, that's official. You're hired. Okay, so a lot of the administrators will not tell you, because what if you get disapproved? That's just a disappointment for you. So they won't even tell you until they know 100% that you are hired. Okay, and the next step would be a job offer letter. And so you can refer them to me. You can say, give them my information. And if you need help with the visa, contact Dr. McCullough. Okay?
Yes.
All right, that's good.
I
And we need to be done because we've been on 5 hours now. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good luck. Okay. We're down to 42 from 80 something. We have half of our people already went to bed. Okay, so the others, if you are on the list that I didn't get to you because we ran out of time, please do a 2-minute introduction of your professional information with a smooth, you have practiced already, and you have to look at the camera, not on your cheat sheet, okay? So send it to me, and I will send it with your cover letter and your resume. I put it together and I put it to the administrators, because the fluent ones or knows technology and very, kind looking and positive, you will have a very good chance of getting it. But the fluency is key. Okay, you have to be fluent. You cannot have broken English. Okay, nosebleed is acceptable. All right. So with that said, I want to say goodbye. So anyway, my husband is over here. I've not had breakfast. I've not had lunch. So anyway, so I'm gonna have to say bye-bye. I will try to see who you are and and see. Okay, there's Roca. Charlene is still here. Joanne,
Goodbye.
Joseph,
Doc.
Mylene,
Thank you.
Nancy,
Thank you so much, Doc.
Myrna.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Doc.
much, Doc.
West Memphis, I don't have anything to tell you. I will see Kendrick on Monday. So I will, when I find out something, I will just email you. Okay. There's nothing that we can discuss because I do not know anything new. So that
Marlena,
looks like, yeah.
regarding the April 22 Lafayette Elementary School, any updates?
No, because she is still talking to her superintendent about whether to hire international or not. There's a little political
Okay.
thing there. But I
Okay,
will
then.
let you
Thank
know
you.
once I, yeah.
Thank you.
Annabelle, Annalie is here, Navales, David, Ina, is it Erna? And Erwin is here. Thank you, Erwin. Australia. Oh,
Thank you
Giselle,
so much,
for birthday.
Doc.
Glory Faye, Jennifer, yeah, Jenny, Joanne,
Thank you,
Jovi,
Doc.
Jovelyn, yeah.
Bye.
Okay,
Good night.
bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mendoza. Yep.
Bye, Doc. Thank you
Bye-bye,
so much.
guys. See you in 2 weeks, okay?
Bye-bye. Yes.
The
Bye-bye.
18th.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you for
See you on the
Joanne.
18th.
Thank you,
attending.
Doc
Thank you for
Marlena.
Bye-bye.
attending.
Thank you,
Bye.
Miss
Thank you,
Roca.
Doc.
Have a
Thank
blessed
you.
Sunday, everyone. Bye-bye.
You too. You
Yeah.
too. Okay.
Yes.
Bye-bye,
See you
Doc.
soon, Merlin. Okay.
Thank you so
Bye-bye,
much.
Sharon.